I didn't punch you, I hit you. I'm the girl from Aquaman. When I say Amber, they say Amber. Who? No one knows who I am. I didn't punch you, I hit you. Now it's time to take the stand. Well, come on, doctor, gotta tell the truth. Do you know the Muffin Man? Hit you, hit you, hit you, hit you. When I say Amber, they say Amber. Who? No one knows who I am. I didn't punch you, I hit you. Why don't you understand? I didn't punch you, I hit you. Now can I cut a finger from your hand? I didn't punch you, I hit you. I'm the girl from Aquaman. When I say Amber, they say Amber. Who? No one knows who I am. I didn't punch you, I hit you. Now it's time to take the stand. Well, come on, doctor, gotta tell the truth. Do you know the Muffin Man? Hit you, hit you, hit you, hit you. When I say Amber, they say Amber. Who? No one knows who I am. I didn't punch you, I hit you. Why don't you understand? I didn't punch you.
All right, I'm a little late. I'm sorry.
We're still playing music.
Is
Shh.
Pro
We're
live
still
yet?
playing music. We're still
'Cause
playing
I
music.
just joined the voice
We're
chat
still
and
playing
stuff,
music.
but I,
Shut up.
deafen just in case because he
What's
usually
the
does
doing
stuff
movie
where
scenes?
he plays
Your
a
life
weird
using
anime song and
What
then
if
he just
anything
goes
is your
off or
legal
whatever.
team? Say
Thank
you had
Sandy.
makeup in 2012, that wasn't so till 2017. Come on, why did she pronounce it Aquaman? Say I don't have style, you must be a stranger. Cool, fresh, lone ranger. Thought I'd be worried, but I'm feeling all calm. Draw a picture for my lawyer while you ramble on. Now you think you're gonna win it when you step to John. Knowing nobody believes you're not even your mom. I'm chillin', I'm fine, I'm dope, I'm a boss. And now you just lost cause you mentioned Kate Moss. And your owner said you were lost in the sauce. Well, give us a week, just wait till we cross. I don't find your testimony convincing. Every witness you have is dead or missing. Look to the jury and cry in fear. Can poop on command, but not a single tear. The news had to Photoshop one on. Disgraceful. Caught you in the elevator being unfaithful. You're hurting your case, for goodness sake. I, for one, am happy to have this break. Used to be respected, people took me at my word. Then I became a lawyer representing Amber Heard. Objection, hearsay. Oh my God, I don't have a case. Objection, hearsay. Now I'm ashamed to show my face. Well, I'm a famous movie star, yeah, life is always fine. I sit down at my penthouse drinking mega pints of wine. Objection, hearsay. I don't know why we ever wed. Objection, hearsay. Who the hell poops in someone's bed? I object to everything, I may have an infection. Cause I say I object, the judge says that was your own question. Objection, hearsay. Court isn't supposed to be this hard. Objection, hearsay. How did I ever pass the bar? Well, just one final question, sir, and this one has been prepped. What is your name? My name is Johnny Depp. Objection, hearsay. How can you prove that that's your name? Objection, hearsay. Looks like we win and you are lame. Objection, hearsay. Objection, hearsay.
All right, we are back. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's get. Okay, so we have a few things we want to talk about tonight. Obviously, I think one of the funniest stories would be Ethan Ralph went back to Portugal and on a live stream got his ass beat. I don't know if it was the same individual who kicked his ass the last time, but we will watch it. Low cow tipping. fucking great. You deserve that one. That was clever. You got to give it to him. By the way, oh, sorry. The channel that did those parodies is called Gadfly, and it looks like they just started doing this shit pretty much. I mean, look, is this board game Kickstarter a scam? And then what do they do next? They do a parody song.
How's it going, buddy?
Hey, buddy. So this guy, like, he was like brand new to YouTube, right? I was playing his parody videos of the trial, and it's like he did one video since he started his channel 1 month ago about a board game, like a board game Kickstarter. Like, is it a scam? Like a kind of an exposed video about it.
Wait. Was it the song you were just playing right now?
Yeah. The guy that did those parody songs. It looks like he started a channel, and the channel was going to be like talking about Kickstarter scams. And instead, like, this trial happened, and he did one parody song. It got over 1 million views, and now he's just turned into a channel making parody songs. And it's fucking great. Cool. Yeah, and the parody songs are actually really good. The guy's got talent. Anyways, I
find out about him.
I just looked it up because, like, I figure this has been trending every day since the trial began, essentially, right? So I'm like, dude, there's got to be people doing parody content about it, especially after, like, some of the viral moments out of the trial. Camille, right? Sitting down and objecting to everything, and the judge granting her every single one, as the other attorney is just like,
Wasn't that that's Camille is Depp's
That's one of Depp's attorneys, yeah.
Okay.
But, like, you know, I figure there's got to be shit like that, and there's so much of it. But, like, this guy, I was like, this is really good, and he just started. I was like, I wanted to play the three that I think are, like, the best. And like the Amber Heard one, the Johnny Depp one, and the objection hearsay is just, like, they're fucking hilarious. Anyway, so topics for tonight, Sen. I have the Ethan Ralph, the lolcow tipping. I have the 8 minutes of when that occurred. I had it I had a freeze frame on it earlier where you just see his, like, gun hanging out. But I took that off the screen for obvious reasons. I wanted to talk about this whole situation that's going on in Texas.
Yeah, the thing, what's it called? What is it, the shooting? Right?
Yeah. So, look, I mean, I'm going to talk about, like, the political things and the debates people are having, but one thing I thought was, like, really fucked up is, the shooting occurs, and as it's happening, there's all this chaos. A lot of people in the area did not know what was going on, because children were being rushed around and moved around to different departments, and being taken to different hospitals. So you had local news outlets who were reporting on parents who could not find their kids, right? Like, getting the word out there, right? Meanwhile, the entire conversation online and through mainstream outlets turned into conversations about gun control and why gun control is good and why gun control is bad. And I'm like, you still had children missing, right? Parents did not know if their kids were even alive or dead. And we were already on the let's ban guns. And I'm like, holy shit. It's really fucking disturbing. I'm actually kind of glad. So this thread, you can use it for reference. It's actually in the description. I don't want to go through it because there are still some photos of the kids that are up. A lot of the posts have been taken down because, unfortunately, in some of the cases, the children were reported dead. They were in a different hospital, and the report hadn't come in yet. Others were found. They were just in different locations, been moved by the police to a different area. But the whole shooting is really fucked up. This isn't a situation, because it is a school shooting. It isn't a situation where you have somebody who mentally unwell, is upset with the school and the way he's being treated or something. And it's not a Columbine or anything. It's a situation where you have somebody who's upset with his grandma, shoots her, right? The police are in the process of chasing him after he has shot his grandma, and he runs into an elementary school. I believe it's an elementary school. And the police decide not to pursue him into the school and instead like cordon off the area. Now, I can understand why that would typically be what you would do, but you're dealing with somebody who's just committed a crime in the heat of the moment and is on the run. Like, I don't think he's all that stable. And I mean, obviously, I don't think the cops thought that he would do what he had done. I think they thought that they could negotiate and get him out of the building without anyone being harmed. But, you know, it doesn't always work out that way. This I want to jump more into it in a little bit because I got more stuff pulled up, and this is what I mean about like this like typical cycle. So you have this fucking idiot, right? He goes on, he makes this like he makes outlandish fucking statements anytime anything happens, and then, you know, he'll have an article written about him and he immediately tweets it out, right? Oh, look guys, look, it's fucking Cenk Uygur, the fucking TYT guy. Dude, I don't think anybody likes him. I mean, like, well, because here's the thing, right? He's very dishonest in the sense that, like, he was a guy who would basically state that, you know, if you can't afford to have a union, right? You're talking to small businesses. If you can't afford to have a union, then you shouldn't be running a business, right? Then when they try to unionize at TYT, this motherfucker starts doing some shady ass shit, like fucking union busting. And we're not like, here's the thing. He could just be honest and say, dude, we really can't afford it. Obviously, you know, TYT doesn't produce the income to afford it, right? He would have to start firing people. What he does instead of just admitting that he was wrong is he starts withholding people's raises that wanted to unionize. I'm like,
this guy's a politician, right?
No. He's a political commentator. He's the host of...
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the host of TYT. He tried getting elected, and he got like 3% of the vote, and it was in like a super like liberal area in California. So it's like, dude, like how'd you fail that one? And he lost to like a super fucking establishment person. That's because people don't like the guy, right? Like, he's just an asshole, and he's an asshole to get attention for himself. And if you watch his show, like, there are people in his audience, like his fans, who are starting to call him like progressive Trump, and they're like, that's not a good thing.
Well.
Yeah, they're not using that as like they don't like Trump, right? They're saying that he is behaving like someone that they despise. And, you know, in a way, the things that he says about Trump, the way that he says Trump behaves, it's like you can really attribute all that to him. It's fucking great. There's that whole sandwich controversy. I don't know if you know this, but I guess there was a female who was on the show at one point, and he told her to like go and make him a sandwich. I'm like, dude, yeah, based as shit, right? But this is the type of guy who turns around and like hard fucking core progressive, burn down the system, and misogyny, abortions up until they're out of the fucking womb, like that kind of guy, right? But in reality, the dude loves to punch down on people. He loves to objectify women. There's those clips of him at the airport just lambasting flight attendants. Right?
Cenk Uygur, right?
Yeah. His network is called the Young Turks. The Young Turks, a lot of people... Yeah.
Isn't that? Oh, is he related to Hassan?
He's Hassan's uncle. He's the one who gave Hassan his start. Yeah.
Oh, so he's the famous Chinky.
Yes.
Okay.
So, like, here's the thing. His network is called the Young Turks, and they've tried every way of getting around this, but the Young Turks is an organization, or was an organization, I should say, that committed a genocide. And, you know, when we say genocide today, the first thing we think of is the Holocaust, right?
Mhm.
Well, see, the thing is, when the Nazis were coming up with, you know, how they were going to carry out their final solution, guess who they took inspiration from?
Oh,
The Young Turks. Because because the Young Turks had committed a successful genocide. And so they looked at them to see how they could get away with it.
interesting.
Dude, that's the thing, right? So they've tried to claim that no, the Young Turk, it's like a thing in, you know, for people in Turkey, because, you know, that's where he's from. And it means like, oh, you're standing against the system, right? And, you know, Cenk, he's like this progressive guy, and he's always standing against the establishment. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's cool and that's cute and everything. But, you know, there was actually a time where Chunky Yogurt here was an establishment Republican guy. And he got, like, ex-nayed from the party, to my understanding, like, you know, from that, like, from the right-wing sphere of things, because he's always been a political commentator. He got ex-nayed from it because he was kind of an outrageous asshole. But see, back then, guess what he called himself?
What?
The Young Turk.
Nice.
So it's like, back when he was an establishment Republican guy, he was still calling himself the Young Turk, right?
Yeah.
Or I believe the show was the Young Turks. I think it's always
Isn't
been
it like I don't know if this is confirmed or anything, but
Yeah.
isn't it like weird how a lot of like I hear a lot of like the Democrats or the people that are like acting very progressive now and stuff like that used to be hardcore Republicans, or at least lean on that side a lot.
Yes and no. Like, here's the thing. Republicans, it's very frustrating. The left in this country has gone, like, absurdly far to the left, right?
Yeah.
The right has, for the most part, stayed where it's at, but moved slightly to the left, right? You know, as much as there is still that conservative Christian community, it's not like it was in the 90s, right? You know, the people that are representing the party are kind of dying out, right? Like the Mitch McConnells and everything, the Mitt Romney guy, those people are they don't have a future, right? There's nobody who's going to take over their role. Like, when they're gone, you're going to see someone else come in that's going to be one of these, you know, Trump Republican people. It's going to be a populist, right? Because that's the new wave within the party, and they, for the most part, they've taken over, right? Sorry, like, I'm gonna, like, way off topic here. Anyways, when you look at the Democrats, right, they used to be for things like border control. Fucking Bernie Sanders is, you know, Bernie Sanders has always been a progressive guy, but he used to be honest about things, right? Like, when it came to the border, he called it a Koch brothers conspiracy. He believed the Koch brothers wanted to get illegal immigrants into the country so that they could get them to work for cheap and not have to pay American workers a fair wage, right? This is Bernie fucking Sanders saying this, right? This is something that if you said that today, you'd be like an Alex Jones fucking InfoWars guy, right? But Bernie Sanders used to say that because, I mean, it used to be what they actually thought. Border control used to be something that Democrats actually supported. Gun control, same Bernie fucking Sanders on gun control too, right? He used to say it's an urban versus rural argument, and he's right. But now it's like everybody has to be for like hardcore gun restrictions. Everybody has to be for a porous and open border with a pathway to citizenship and everything. And it's like, these are wildly different from where Democrats used to be. In fact, where Democrats used to be back in like the early 2000s is where you see most Republicans trying to get things to. I think the only issue that they're not is like when it comes to abortion, but that's because Republicans have always been anti-abortion, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I just to me it's very obvious one side has gone very drastically off in one direction to everybody but them, right? To them, it's like this whole banning of abortion is like right-wing extremism. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they've always wanted to ban abortions. Like, they only accepted the restrictions. Like, then you got rid of restrictions, and they went to say, okay, well then we want abortions banned. Like, I mean, they didn't even do that. They just like said, okay, we're gonna put a restriction in. Like, that's basically what happened. Like, it's nuts. It really is. But like when it comes to shit like this, you know, this whole thing, it's just an article with Chunky Yogurt's 2 tweets bitching at Democrats. The Democrats don't do enough. And I'm like, you know, he's not wrong in the sense that Democrats aren't doing anything, but it's like the things that they want to do are just fucking pointless, right? Like, they talk about background checks, right? And they're like, oh, there's this bill. I want to talk about the Candace Owens thing because this is another part of this story that's just fucking absurd. But you know, they talk about like how, you know, we need to have these strict fucking background checks, and I'm like, motherfucker, during COVID there was a spike in gun owners. And for the very first time, Democrats learned that background checks actually fucking exist. So, like, going around and telling people that there's a bill and Republicans won't vote on it, and if only that bill had been voted on, then there would have been a background check. It's so dishonest. It's an outright fucking lie, right? It's an outright fucking lie. And like, and here's the thing: if you want harsh gun restrictions, I just kind of want people to be honest about it and say what they actually want restricted, right? Because this idea that like it gets twisted around that, oh my gosh, the Second Amendment doesn't allow for these super dangerous weapons, and the founding fathers were complete fucking morons and couldn't comprehend the idea that weapons would advance and technology would cause them to make more destructive weapons. Like, it's absurdly fucking stupid, right? It really is. It just is. Like, this is the country, right? This is the culture. And here's the thing: if you want school shootings to stop, like, I mean, this idea that they're going to put some law in place that's going to stop it is stupid. This idea that because some people, and by some people, I'm talking about a very, 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 very small, like, we're talking less than 1%. I would say less than half of a percentage of this population that goes out and commits mass shootings and shit, right? So because of that, you're going to go to people who don't commit any crimes, who are totally responsible and legal gun owners, and you're going to go around and you're going to remove all of their firearms. Okay, that's not going to happen either, right? Like, you can't remove the rights from individuals because some people break the law. Like, that doesn't actually make sense when you rationalize it. But even then, let's say you did it. Well, like, all the gun crimes in Chicago are not being committed by registered gun owners. Like, that's like, holy shit, right? And like, what are you gonna do? Go to Chicago and get the gangs to turn their fucking guns in? Like, or are you gonna like go in and just like nuke the shit out of them? Right? I'm genuinely curious, like, what's the solution there? Because the thing is, we know that harsh gun control doesn't actually do jack shit, because we just saw this happen in Buffalo. I believe Buffalo was what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? I mean,
I don't remember.
Okay, like, I mean, but the thing is, Buffalo, New York has excessively harsh gun restrictions. This person was still able to obtain firearms, right? And he still went out and he committed a mass shooting. And the thing is, in his own like manifesto, and the thing is, you know, take it for what you will, but he directly states that the reason why he picked that area was because he knew that it was a soft target, meaning he knew that the people there were not going to be armed, and he knew it'd be very easy for him to just go to fucking town on them. Like, that was his logic, right? So now we have another mass shooting at another soft target, and the left's response is once more gun control. We need to remove firearms from people. Like, dude, you know, like, criminals are not, like, people who are bad and are, you know, not good people are not going to turn in their firearms to you. Like, again, what are you going to do to the gangs in Chicago? Their firearms aren't registered, right? Like, they aren't registered. You're going to go to all the legal registered gun owners who never break the law, and you're going to tell them to turn their firearms in, and the criminals who do break the law are just going to lie about possessing a firearm. And what are you going to do? It's not registered to them. They got it illegally. Like, what do you do? Like, honestly, what do you do? This is how stupid it's gotten. At least that's the way I feel about it. There's this whole like thing with Australia that people like to point to, and I'm like, you know, I never understand why the United States, which is not a how do you say it? The United States is very vast and very diverse, and by that I mean, you know, we're a United States, meaning each state has its own individual people that live there that can govern themselves their own way. You know, it's under the federal government, sure, but like, the states are their own thing, right? Like, you're gonna tell all these different people all together to all suddenly have the exact same values when it comes to guns. Like, there are going to be people that live out in rural areas where they do not have instant access to police. Like, what are you going to do? Tell them when they have like a 30-minute wait time for the cops to get to their farm. Like, you can't take their gun away from them. Like, you're basically telling them that they will be defenseless and they will have no help. No. Fuck no. Abso-fucking-lutely not. You know, there's those videos of women being attacked in alleyways, and again, like, the equalizer, because a dude is bigger than them, is they pull out a firearm, they shoot him. And I fully support it. Like, honestly, if I had my way, like, no joke, I'm not kidding, I would make it like a thing where the government provides not mandatory training for like the population can do whatever the fuck they want, but the government has to provide firearms training for the populace for free, right? If you want it, they need to provide it. I think that's better than this bullshit, right? I think training people and making sure they actually understand, you know, what a firearm is, how to use it properly, you know, and you know what the actual method of obtaining one is. I think that would do a hell of a lot better for everybody if they actually understood these things. You don't need to make it mandatory. People have to do it, but I think, you know, the government should be required to, you know, educate people on these things. And instead, you know, half the government wants to ban it and the other half is not fucking stupid. Sorry. Okay, so
you're really passionate about this, Crow.
Okay, so this is why when I look at a school shooting, I look at, why it happened. And in this case, I think it's pretty obvious. The cops should have gone into the school, right? And they should have kept pursuing the guy, which I know is dangerous also. But you have someone who's clearly deranged, who has just shot somebody else. So we're not talking about someone they're pursuing who hasn't done anything yet. He's already shot somebody, his own family member. In that situation, I think the cops should have gone in. I think they should have kept pursuing him. I don't think that they should have just let him go into the school and then barricade it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at, right? I'm looking at it as, let's go over the actual procedures that the cops, used and figure out why it was so fucking stupid. And in the future, then we can prevent what happened, right? I also look at it and I say, hey, maybe if we have security guards, right? Stop typing for a second.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay, now hear me out, right? Anytime we deal with large sums of money, we have armed security everywhere. Even at my job, when money goes in and out of the building, it's with armed security. And when you go to the bank, right? Even in like a friendly neighborhood, right? Even a small bank, even at like a credit union, they have an armed security guard there, right? But when you go to the fucking courthouse, they have fucking cops there. Right? When you go to these fucking politicians, they surround themselves with armed security. So I'm sitting there going like, all these people believe they are so fucking precious. The money is so fucking precious. Why wouldn't we have like armed security at schools? I'm not kidding. And I'm saying it's like, let's say they got their way and they took guns away from the public. I would still say, why the fuck don't we have armed security at the schools, right? This idea that the kids are going to be threatened because there's going to be someone there with no. Holy shit, right? I'm how about they introduce themselves, right, to the kids so that the kids know that the people are there for their safety and shit, right? Like, I think that would be a more immediate solution, because here's the thing, right? This guy, when he came charging into the school and went running into a classroom, well, if there was armed security there, when this guy rolled up and started running into one of the classrooms, probably would not have made it into the classroom. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe if he thought, oh shit, I can't go to the school because there's armed cops there or armed security there. These are public schools, by the way, right? We just sent like how much money to fucking Ukraine to fight some fucking bullshit war? Like how much money was it? $44 fucking billion? How about we spend that money and we pay for security at fucking schools? That seems fair to me. It seems more valuable to me that we protect kids than we protect some corrupt fucking government in Eastern fucking Europe.
Jesus, you do not like these people, do you?
I mean, I'm looking at what happened here, and I'm like, there are solutions. The problem is people on the left just don't like it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so fucking sick and tired of this bullshit where they immediately before the parents even knew if their children were dead or not, right? These motherfuckers went and tried to capitalize on the deaths instantly, and turned around and accused everybody on the right of being child killers or some stupid shit. I go, okay, that's fine. Then why don't I be just equally as malicious and petty and stupid? And I'll say that the only reason why people on the left care that these kids died is because now it means that they can't molest them.
You know what? I knew you were going to go there.
Why not? Like, honestly, why not? I don't think that there's any reason, especially the day of and the day fucking after, especially as the parents don't even know where their children are, if they're even alive yet. I think that if you're going to behave this way, if you're going to go around and start lying about your political opposition, you're going to immediately try to capitalize and use it as an opportunity to bolster yourselves. I think that you need to be called out. I think you need to be mocked. I think you need to be shamed. And I think that you need to get a taste of your own fucking medicine. And I don't think people need to be fucking polite about it anymore. Like, let's talk about this story here, because here's the thing. Candace Owens has actually said some shit I don't really fucking like. Okay? I really don't like some of the crap that Candace Owens says. I don't hate her. Okay? I really don't. I don't hate her. I again, if there's anyone I fucking hate, it's Chunky Yogurt. It's Chunky Yogurt. Hassan is like funny to me now. Because he is, right? He's like the top political commentator for like I want to say like progressive, socialist, communist, that kind of wing of people. And he's a dude who literally leaves the fucking stream and just runs MasterChef in the background. Like, come on, honestly, it's comedic gold when you think about it.
But I think that, like, on the left at least, the top political commentator would have to be Bosch, only because Bosch can at least kind of make points.
No, I'm talking. I'm talking about audience wise. Hassan's got
well, numbers wise, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, when it comes to Bosch, I just don't respect his argument in the sense that Vaush has argued that when it comes down to it, power is the only thing that actually matters, right? Well, because he feels that way, I can't trust him to be honest, because at the end of the day, any conversation or any debate just comes down to a conversation over power. Well, Vaush wants power, so he'll say whatever he has to get the power. I can't really deal with somebody like that. And the thing is, I know that he's lied. I know that he's been dishonest. I know he's flipped his position so it'll be more convenient for him. I've heard him go extensively into running optics, right? Because the optics matter to him, because, you know, he can't tell you what his actual opinions are, because then, you know, people might take it the wrong way. I mean, look at what happened with the fucking J.K. Rowling shit, right? Look how hard he tried to fight that. But he had to back down, because that's who Vaush is. Sure, he wants to push it. Sure, he wants to tell people how he actually thinks. Because the thing is, Vaush wants to be edgy, right? He wants to be progressive, but he also wants to be edgy. But his audience doesn't like edgy. They want you to be tolerant and accepting and not say anything that could offend anybody. So Vaush always has to walk this very fucking fine line. And you can tell because he complains about it. So I'm like...
He complains about it?
Yes. I mean, look, here's the thing. He clowns on Tim Pool, right? Then he goes on Tim Pool, and now they're buddy and shit, right?
Wait, are they?
Well, in the sense that Tim Pool will have him on the show. And the thing is, I've heard Tim Pool like clown on him regularly now, in the sense that Vaush will say something stupid and, you know, he'll talk about it. And then Vaush will super chat him and go like, hey, when am I coming on the show again? Because Vaush wants the clout of being on fucking Tim Pool's show. So he's never going to say anything that would get him thrown off the show, even though everybody in his audience wants him to go for Tim Pool's throat. Even though Ari Progressive talks about how Tim Pool is just really a conservative grifter. He can't do it, though, because he wants the clout from being on Tim Pool's show. I'm no joke, honestly. I treat you not. If Ben Shapiro gave Vaush a spot on his like Sunday special or whatever, this motherfucker would start talking about how reasonable that man is. Because that's who Vaush is. He sees it as like another way of getting himself ahead. No, I'm like, I have no respect for the guy, that's all. I mean, you can present me any argument he's made. I just think he's full of shit. I think that's why a lot of his arguments are just like this twisted fucking logic. Right? Because, again, it's not really about the actual position he's taking, right? He knows what he has to say to win. Winning's all that matters, because winning is power. It's fucking annoying, honestly. You'll never get anywhere with a guy like that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like... I can see it, though. Like Like I believe everything you said. That does seem like something Vosh would do.
Well, I mean, look, I actually, because the thing is, I'll make fun of Vosh, but I will actually watch his streams, and I've gone back and I've watched his streams. The other thing I've done is, because it's really frustrating because he's so fucking smug, like just so absurdly smug. It's very difficult to sit through. But I'll like watch other people picking apart his streams now too, and that makes it a little bit more enjoyable. And I'm like sitting there going, yeah, like what is it, the Stitch guy? I forget his channel name. It's been a while since I've watched political stuff. No joke. But I've like watched a few of those, and it's really interesting when they're picking apart some of these bread tubers and going over their arguments and analyzing them. But you know, actually, I think it's a good idea that you actually pay attention and watch. And the thing is, when it comes down to it, if you do see him doing it, it becomes much more noticeable the next few times, because it's who he is, it's his nature, and it's how he's gotten ahead so far. I mean, look at how he used to be with Destiny, right? The dude used to suck Destiny's dick. Then it just became advantageous for him to throw Destiny under the bus and, you know, stand on top of the man to build himself up. Then it became advantageous for him to, you know, go back to being on good terms with Destiny. Then it became advantageous, and like, I'm just like, dude, if you don't like the man, just fucking say it. But like, you know, if you like him, then just fucking say that. But like, he's walking this angle with his audience where they hate him, and they always use this clip that Destiny said dumb fuck protesters. He said something like mow down dumb fuck protesters about the Kyle Rittenhouse shit. And I'm going like, dude, he like, yes, out of context, that sounds bad. In context, he's saying that they're not protesters. He literally calls them rioters. And he even explains why they are rioters. But the left doesn't give a shit. Those breadtuber audiences, they don't fucking care. They use it against him. They say that he was saying that it was a good thing that protesters were being killed. Like this, like I mean, honestly, anyone who's listened to the guy talk, you really want to sit there and say that the guy was actually saying that it was a good thing people were being killed? It's absurd. But this is what I mean. These people are just blatantly fucking dishonest. It's all about fucking power for them.
Yep.
Gosh, what was that fucking thing that I was saying? Right? It's like you have these people on the right, and they expect to show up, right, at the appropriate time that was agreed upon, right? They expect nobody's going to hit below the belt. Everybody will follow the rules as was presented ahead of time. And then as the other dude shows up 5 minutes fucking late, wielding a fucking weapon, swinging at your fucking dick, you know? Meanwhile, like, winking at the referee that he's already paid off. And then you have the person on the right that's like, I'm going to keep playing by the rules.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just done. I'm so fucking done with these people. Every argument they make, I just assume comes from a place of outright dishonesty. I just assume everything is about a play for fucking power with them. Any conversation comes down to power with them. Any fandom that they try to enter, right? They immediately try to what do they call it, like astroturfing or co-opting it, right?
Co-opting?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Look at what they did with the fucking anime community, or what they're still trying to do with the anime community. Like they did with. They enter into the communities, right? They claim that they're fans, right? You know, they put all the shit in their fucking bios and the profile pics and everything. And then they start putting these long fucking threads together online about, oh, I like the show, but it's so problematic how the author keeps drawing the characters with large tits. That's not realistic. That's not body positivity, yada yada, blah 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 bullshit, right? They do it all the fucking time. They did it with fucking video games. They did it with fucking board games. Like, every fucking time they enter into anything, They co-opt it into their own fucking crusade. And then what do these groups turn into? Right? What do video games turn into? It turns into an outlet for their fucking messaging. All the fucking time. Why the fuck am I getting political fucking messages in fucking Overwatch? In fucking Overwatch. Why? Literally, why? Why? Why in fucking World of Warcraft would you take out a character who is an actual racist, warmongering tyrant? Why would you remove a line where he calls an undead psychopath a bitch because it's time? Why? Because these people go in and they infest things that already exist and they use it as a vehicle to push their own fucking messaging. And it's so sick and it's so disgusting and it always happens. Because people in those fucking groups are polite. And they assume that these individuals who enter in are entering in good fucking faith. And they try to have rational conversations with these people. And what do? They start throwing fucking tantrums. And then you feel bad. So you sit there and you go like, oh, okay. Well, nobody wants someone to cry. I don't want to make you feel bad. And that's how they fucking get you. God damn it! It's like Rick and Morty fucking episode. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about, but Morty's dad, right? He's getting like slurped up by the slug, and Rick is just like berating him, and he's talking about how he's a predator, and he uses his uselessness to draw people in. I'm like, yeah, like
I think I might remember that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, that's who these people are. They're Jerry's. They're just all Jerry's.
Dude, I haven't is that show ever gonna come back? Has it?
Oh yeah,
another season.
Dude, that's had multiple seasons. Like,
no, I mean like recently.
Yeah, like well, not this year, but last year. There's a new season coming out this year. They were new for like 9 seasons. Like, I'll be honest, I think it's gotten a little bit worse. Like, the latest season wasn't that interesting for me. But anyways. Let's talk about this this Candace Owens shit. Let me go back to the first. Here we go. Is this it? Yeah, okay, here we go. So I saw this and I was a little bit confused about it. This is in regards to the shooter. I got a couple other things to go over. I don't know if I'm going to be talking about the Ethan Klein thing, but first, let me just get this tip. 224 Vic, thank you for the tip for 420. Finally managed to hit 1K subs after all these years. Congrats! Good job, man. I really appreciate that, dude.
Nice job.
Sen, come on. Give him a clap.
Oh, hold on.
Golf claps.
Yeah. Me, Aura, and Steve were telling people to sub to Vic. What was it, like Saturday?
Guys, everybody, sub to 224 Vic. He's already hit 1,000, but like he could hit 2,000. Come on, he's
Vic,
working
just
hard.
A little bit of like criticism. Like your intro goes on for like really fucking long, dude. Like shorten that shit out and
6
start putting out
seconds.
more content.
6 seconds.
It's not 6 seconds, is it?
No, I'm saying he should keep it to 6 seconds.
Yeah, he should like, yeah.
I mean, like I used to have like a long intro, and then I cut it down to 8 seconds. And I was told that was still a little too long, but it was okay. But I think like if he did 6, he'd be fine. Oh, anyways, dude, congrats! Like, dude, he hit 1,000 subs, so like that's great. Everybody else is like hurting right now, losing subs, and 224 Vic here is like, nope, I just did 1K. Fucking awesome.
I don't even think it's losing. I think it's just stagnation.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so
it's beautiful.
Okay, so I've got a couple other things to pull up, including the Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke stories, which are
what happened with them.
I'll get into it, but I want to talk about this shit because this is the type of thing that I'm talking about, using this tragedy to go after people they don't like. Candace Owens, right?
Mm-hmm.
This person is like, Twitter will train Candace Owens' name for spreading false information, but not ban her for it. And apparently this is over something, and I think it's this, right? What drives an 18-year-old kid to callously murder innocent children? I don't know, but judging by the pictures of him cross-dressing, I would assume there were plenty of signs that he was mentally disturbed and abused. Now, here's the thing. I don't actually know what photo she's talking about, because she didn't post any photos. Now, this individual here, who works for NBC News, says that she was referencing this individual who was never named and no photos were ever linked. And when you go through the story, this is just how fucking weird this is, right? When you go through the story, apparently, actually, let me, yeah, okay. One of Sam's photos was shared by the Young Conservatives of Southern Indiana Facebook page, which has more than 4,000 followers. This individual who works for NBC News decided that because there was a Facebook page for conservatives in Southern Indiana who shared this photo, and that Facebook group has 4,000 followers, that it must have been this individual that Candace Owens was referring to, and therefore Candace Owens had threatened that individual's life or some other insane bullshit. Look, I don't know who Candace Owens was referring to, right? She could have very well been referring to that person. The problem is the shooter, to my understanding, beyond the fact that he is named and there are photos of him out there, I guess did use eyeliner or some shit. So, like, I don't know, she just saw, like, a photo of this person with eyeliner, assumed the person was cross-dressing. I have no idea. I have, like, literally no fucking clue. But yeah, I mean, you can see right here. Photos referenced by conservative commentator Candace Owens in a recent tweet are of a transgender individual falsely identified. I shit you not, Sen. You know what's the most fucked up thing about this story?
What?
The person who is claiming to have been targeted by Candace Owens, the individual that they are like putting forward as having been falsely identified by her, I swear to God, is just coming forward so they can claim themselves to be a victim. It's that pathetic. It's that fucking stupid. It is that fucking pathetic. Because I'm like, you cannot link these things together. You cannot tell me that because the Southern Indiana Conservatives Facebook page that has more than 4,000 followers, because they shared a photo of this person, that must be who Candace Owens was referring to. That is insane. That is insane fucking logic. That is some twisted fucking logic. But this is what I mean. The children, not even dead yet. And by that I mean the parents don't even fucking know. Still in the hospital. Still being treated. Still on life support. And these motherfuckers created a fake controversy to use it to go after one of their political opponents. And by the way, just so everybody understands that this is kind of like the typical behavior for these people. I know, cheap shot. The father of one of the victims from the Texas shooting was pro-gun and literally championing Kyle Rittenhouse on Facebook. Dude's child was shot. And these individuals go digging around his social media, find that he supported Kyle Rittenhouse, and look, this is why I didn't care. Honestly, truly, long as it wasn't any black babies. And I'm like, you know, these are the individuals, by the way, who claim to fucking care, who claim to be the compassionate ones, who say it's the people that don't want you to take away the people that want you to keep your guns. They're the evil ones, right? Look at how they talk about people that disagree with them. I don't know if this dude lost his kid. I really don't. Like I don't. But That's a photo of his kid. Like, I mean, how old is he? 8? Younger? Who loses his kid? And like, these people turn it into, well, he was a Rittenhouse supporter. What? So what's the logic there, Sen? What do you think? Do you think that they're trying to say he got what he deserved?
Yeah, probably.
Fucking sick. But I'm supposed to fucking like think that these individuals, when they're sitting around screeching and demanding that, you know, law-abiding citizens turn their guns in, that they're doing it because they actually care about children. I'm not kidding. Like, dude, I'm just gonna fucking say it for non. The only reason why these individuals care that those kids got shot is because now they can't molest them.
What the fuck?
What?
What the fuck?
What?
Because you can't molest. Wait a minute.
I said like I think the only reason why these individuals care that the kids got shot is because now they can't molest them. These people on the left who are like sitting there bitching and screeching about you know, and doing shit like this, I don't fucking give a shit anymore. Like when they talk, when they open up their mouths, when they claim to be on the right side of things or whatever the fuck they like to say, I just don't respect it. I don't take it seriously. I assume that they're fucking lying because, you know, generally, you know, they are lying. But like, this is sad. This is sad, son. You know, like, I don't care if you like don't like the guy or you disagree with his politics or whatever. It like, he lost his kid. Why are you digging around his social media to see who he was a supporter of? Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Yeah, that's really fucked up, right? There are plenty of cases of school shootings, of mass shootings, right? And the media will lionize and parade around anyone who comes out in staunch support of strict gun control laws. But you'll have individuals who are victims of those crimes or who lost family members to those crimes who do not support you going around and removing everybody else's guns. Those people get no attention because they're not promoting the message. So I look at it and I just go, it's sad to me that we're not even like, I think this is like the day that this shit had happened. You have them digging around to see who this person supports so they can decide if they care or not. That's evil. These people are fucking evil. That's what I said. I don't think they care about fucking kids. The fucking molesting kids and shit. Yeah, groomers and everything. Yeah, ha, whatever. But like, I honestly, I don't think that they really care that these kids died. I don't think that they fucking care when kids die. The response, like, and like one of the things I would say to that is like, during that whole abortion thing, there's this viral meme that they were sharing around on the left, and it was this girl, and she was like in a bed surrounded by a bunch of like filth and squalor, and you know, it's pretty clear that, you know, it's a photo of a girl living like who's homeless or living in like extreme poverty, and it's like, just because you stopped an abortion doesn't mean you saved a life or something. And it's like, bro, are you arguing that poor people should just die? Like, what? I mean, you know, homeless people live in fucking filth and squalor sometimes. We don't like go around and say that we should kill them. Like, what the fuck? I mean, this is what I mean. Like, their arguments aren't tied to actual care or compassion. It's just about power. I mean, this shit here, dude's losing his kid, and the first thing they do is see who he supports so they can say if they care or not. Yeah, I mean, like, fuck off. Like, fuck all the way off. And speaking of being a filthy fucking attention whore, I got two politicians. The first one is Ted Cruz. And look, Ted Cruz, I will say, he did some stupid shit, I guess, where there was like some sort of blizzard that hit Texas, and like I get that he's a senator and can't do much locally or whatever, but probably shouldn't be vacationing on the islands when people can't get power in your home state. But he got asked a question, and I'll play it because it's only like 20 seconds long. But Ted Cruz says that Democrats in the media are trying to take advantage of the Texas school shooting for political gain, and gun laws don't work. I mean, Sen, like, the first thing that is said here, Democrats are trying to take advantage of the school shooting for political gain. They always do that. They always do that. I mean, they're doing it now. They're
still doing it.
They always like. I'm just saying.
Surprise.
They always do it, right? But like, there are people in the fucking replies here bitching about the NRA and Ted Cruz, and I love this like thing where it's like, if gun laws don't work, why does the NRA buy Republicans by the dozen? I'm like, dude, the NRA doesn't buy the fucking Republicans.
Dude,
the Republicans like support the Second Amendment, and the NRA is the National Rifle Association. So they support those politicians, you dumbasses. It's like
Where has the NRA been?
They don't have that much power anymore. It's like these people act like the NRA is like some like multi-trillion-dollar phantom in the background, and it's like no, not at all.
Because like when I think of the NRA, I remember that one like lady who is like their spokesperson or whatever, and she's like, Thomas the Tank Engine is evil or something like that.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
no, yeah,
I know the lady you're talking about. I don't know what the Thomas the Tank Engine
no,
thing
she made
is.
like some weird reference to Thomas the Tank Engine and being like it was corrupting children or some stupid shit like that.
All right, so I have two politicians. The first is Ted Cruz. The other one is Beto O'Rourke. The Ted Cruz thing, I want to have them side by side because one, I think, is objectively like, I think it's bad. I think what's happening here is disgusting. The other one, who Democrats and people on the left are saying are bad, I think it's just the truth. Democrats constantly use mass shootings to their advantage. And look at what happened in Buffalo, New York. It was a mass shooting, but Buffalo has extremely strict gun control laws. So they didn't talk about the need for gun control. In New York, you can't. They didn't talk about how the gun control laws failed in New York because that would make them look bad. And so instead, they made the entire thing about white supremacy. And Tucker Carlson. Like no joke, after the mass shooting in Buffalo, they started a movement to get Tucker Carlson arrested / removed from the airwaves because he was I don't want to like go too much into the other topic here, because they accused him of promoting the great replacement theory, which the shooter also believes in. And ergo, that means Tucker Carlson needs to be removed from the airwaves. They did this the day after the shooting in Buffalo.
That's a little opportunistic.
Okay, now you have this shooting here in Texas, and what do they immediately do? Gun control laws. We need gun control laws. We need stricter gun control laws. You need to put us in charge. We need to have power. We're the only ones who can do anything. I mean, you can't sit there and state that you do not use these situations for your own political gain when you consistently use these situations for your fucking political gain. It actually makes me angry. It really fucking does. Because these people do it all the fucking time. They're so fucking brazen about it, and then they pretend that you are the... Goddamn, it's like you're being gaslit. No, it's straight up. If they're just gaslighting you. I'm gonna hit play. I'm sorry. Let me hit play.
No, that's okay.
Of this kind, you see politicians try to politicize it. You see Democrats and a lot of folks in the media whose immediate solution is to try to restrict the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. That doesn't work. It's not effective. It doesn't prevent crime.
Yeah, so that's apparently his evil, callous comments. And again, I can point to one, the first thing being something that they constantly always fucking do, right? Never let a fucking never let a crisis go to waste. But then you look at the second one where gun laws don't work. Buffalo, New York. You just had a mass shooting there. The guy said he targeted the supermarket because he knew nobody there would be armed. The gun laws didn't do shit to stop the mass shooting in New York. Why the fuck would you turn around and say what he said here is controversial? It's true. These people don't fucking care. They don't fucking care. What they propose is not going to do anything. They just want to do it anyways. But let's talk about this, because I'm not gonna have to say anything in this clip, and that's the best part, because this Beto O'Rourke gets yelled at by everybody there because it's really fucked up what he does. Again, this is a news conference to update people about what happened, right? This has just gone down, right? This is the very next day. People just found out where their children were, if they were still alive or not. The public still doesn't have all the information. We don't know how many people are even dead. How many people are injured. They're giving us an update, and Beto O'Rourke shows up with a group of people to throw out a fucking protest.
What the fuck?
And again, as much as I might not like Ted Cruz, somehow him pointing out that Democrats are using this as a political opportunity is wrong. When Beto O'Rourke storms a fucking press conference. Like, holy shit, these people are evil. There's no other way around it. They're just fucking evil.
Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
Next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
So, again, I like that he actually got yelled at by the people there. A sick son of a bitch who tried to turn it into a political issue. Again, I don't mind people debating politics on situations like this, right? I don't mind people debating what they think the proper solution should be. But it's acts like this that are disgusting to me. It's accusing the other side of, like, wanting children to die. It's disgusting. It's not true, right?
I hate when they do that. It's just, yeah, it is. It's absolutely uncalled for and disgusting.
Look, here's the thing, and you know, maybe in the 80s, you could have put a stop to people in this country owning guns, except for there's no will in the country to do so. Not back then. Now maybe you do have the will from a segment of the population. And by that I mean it's not even everyone on the left, because when you look at the like the leftists, the communists, especially the communists, they're heavy 2A believers. Like heavily believe in being armed. So this is not something that the majority of the nation agrees with. This is an issue that's meant to rile up Democrats right before you go into the midterm elections, because they don't have anything else to stick to, right? Abortion was the thing that they were going to go with, right? And there's just nobody gives a shit. So what are they going to do instead? it's gonna get very nasty here. Because, like, the abortion shit's not working. It really isn't. People are...
Most of ever.
Well, I mean, they tried to make it into this issue where it's like, oh, they're taking away the rights of women, and they're gonna kill women, like all this shit, right? They went like, they always go for that shit, right? But you know, you look at this now, and they're doing the same shit, right? They're going to turn it into fucking theatrics because they don't have anything to offer the public right now. So you're gonna get this crap instead. It sucks. It really does. And again, my thing is, you had kids who were literally missing. Parents could not find their children, and what do? We do this fucking political game. We turn it into fucking political theater. We fucking go after the people we don't like, and we accuse them of heinous and amoral behavior because it's easy. Like, it's just disgusting to me. And like I was just saying, I'm kind of done when people on the left talk about issues. I just assume they're coming from a place of dishonesty, right? They don't actually want to resolve the problem. They just want to win, and they just want power. It's easier to assume that. And generally, what I found is I'm typically right on that subject. Usually they're not actually looking for a solution. They just want power. They just want to control. I thought it was funny. There's because I was ripping on Chunky Yogurt earlier. I'm gonna keep this on because this is
he saying things again?
Here, let me keep this on while I talk because it's very accurate to what I'm referring to right now. Okay. Look, by the power of white girl, I am offended on your behalf. I look at I look at all this shit happening, and it's, you have people that are absolutely interested in controlling what other people do. When I brought up Chunky Yogurt and the abortion shit, right? He was going on this rant about how people on the left want nothing to do with people on the right, and they're just sick and tired of people on the right enforcing their ways on others. And I'm like, bro, the abortion thing is essentially the Supreme Court kicking it back to the states, right? Meaning each of the states gets to do what they want to do. Meaning red states would do what red states do, and blue states do what blue states do. It's the left that started freaking out and stating that, what about the women in the red states? So, like, obviously they want to control how other people act. They want everybody united under their worldview. I mean, that's creepy. It really is. And this shit, like the by the power of white girl, I am offended on your behalf meme. It's like, you see it especially with like upper middle class white women. They're always about this shit, right? They're perpetually offended for other people. It's nuts.
That's because they need to feel self-important.
Well, I think it's because they have
to feel contributing to something bigger.
I feel like it's because they have nothing else in their lives. Nothing else. Mm-hmm. I mean, nothing of meaning, anyways. Everything is so easy. I don't know. I love this meme though. It is the best. Okay, so we have a couple things we can shift to. I have a whole bunch of clips from the trial. Johnny Depp expert rips Amber Heard psychologist for misrepresenting testimony. The cross-examination of Dr. Curry, which is great.
Oh, was Dr. Curry that weird dude?
No. Dr. Curry was this lady. Yeah,
the other dude.
Well, she responded to the. Oh, okay, I don't know if you remember, but there was Dawn Hughes, I think. This was the woman that basically came on and said that women can't be abusers. Essentially, right? Like anything that Amber Heard did was all defensive, right? And Yeah, like a lot of people were pissed off because Dr. Curry came on and just ripped her apart, and it was great. Her cross-examination did not go well for Heard's team because they spent like 10 minutes trying to imply that she had an improper dinner with Johnny Depp. Like,
Well, boo-hoo.
well, I think the implication was they were having an affair or something. At least that's what they tried to do the first time she came on. The second time they try it again, and
Well, then wouldn't she be having an affair too? Like,
she shuts it down pretty quick. It's actually really funny. Amber Heard smirks as Johnny Depp confronted with photo contradicting abuse testimony. So this is part of the cross-examination of Johnny Depp, which I wanted to show. It's like 8 minutes long. And then Johnny Depp accused trying to get Amber Heard fired from Aquaman. Dude, the Aquaman shit was fucking great. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was fucking awesome.
have they finally let her go?
Yeah, no, they did. They not only dropped her from the contract, but the president for I think DC Films or DC Entertainment or whatever, he had to come on and basically state why Amber Heard was fired. And say it had nothing to do with Johnny Depp. She just doesn't have any chemistry with Jason Momoa. Well, the thing is, well, here's the thing. It might not be a lie because Johnny Depp is the person that got her the job in the first place. So it's like, it might not be a lie. She might just be dog shit. And they might really just want to get rid of her. And then there was the cross-examination of the photo expert. So I want to go through those because today that was fucking amazing. And then I want to wrap it up with the with the gun getting gunted.
Oh, dude, I saw that. That's crazy.
Oh, dude,
He got beat up again.
I know, in Portugal. There we go.
What are the odds?
There you go. There's his gut hanging out.
Ugh.
Okay, all right. Let's
There's no other repulsive human being on this planet than Ethan Ralph.
All right, we'll play that one to close out for the night. Let's start off with dude, this doctor. Like, I swear to God, it's hilarious because I was watching Rekida's channel at the time. He's got a panel of people there, Legal Mindset, and a couple other guys, and they're just all going off about how hot this doctor is. And the thing is, it's hilarious,
Don't
right?
get me wrong.
Wait, let me see. Which one?
Dude, I will play it in a second. Don't worry, you'll see.
Because I'm not looking. I'm
when we get the audio playing, you can tune it anytime because we'll be focused in on her. But like, it's hilarious because like one of them looked up her age, is like, oh, she's 42, and they're like, God damn, she looks better than Amber Heard. It's so funny. And I'm like, here's the thing though, and I don't want to take away from what she actually offers for testimony, because I would say, in terms of all the witnesses that Depp has had, she's probably been one of the strongest in just completely annihilating Amber Heard. Like, the things that she says about Amber Heard, dude, I think it's actually, it gets played out here. She's like, she has like this certain type of personality, and when she was asked about the characteristics of that personality profile, she says they're prone to harmful and malicious acts. And it's like, oh my God. He goes, especially towards people that they were fond of. Like, oh my God. Dude, the thing is, she's very articulate. She's very well spoken. And in terms of giving testimony, she knows exactly how to speak. She knows exactly how to answer questions. She doesn't get tripped up. And her cross-examination, they're getting very hostile with her, and she never loses her composure. So I feel like they tried to portray her as some sort of fucking bimbo, right? Like, oh, you're not board certified. Oh, you were having a dinner with the plaintiff. That's inappropriate. That kind of shit, right? And because she's attractive, they're trying to make it seem like, oh, ignore her. She's just a fucking harlot.
Isn't that against the whole women empowerment.
Well,
thing,
look,
pro-gender
obviously
people
they
tend to
don't
push.
believe that. Obviously,
No,
they don't
I
believe
know,
that.
I know. I'm just putting it out there.
But like,
Mm,
I felt like that's what they were doing when she came on the first time. And I mean, like, look, here's the thing. I think in a trial like this, you're gonna have to expect them to fight dirty. But I was like, holy shit! I was expecting something else. They hardly addressed what she was actually diagnosing Amber Heard with. Instead, they attacked her they attacked her character, and they attacked her credibility. I'm like, I think that that's strong, but only if you can back it up by pointing out where their logic is flawed or pointing out where they've made mistakes. That doesn't get done here at all. Let me hit play.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Gray.
Good morning.
Can you remind the jury who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Dr. Shannon Curry. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist, and I'm here today to rebut the testimony that was provided by Dr. Hughes.
Yeah, she doesn't look old at all.
Rendered by Dr. Hughes do you intend to rebut?
So generally speaking, there are three main...
I know, right?
She looks a lot better than Amber Heard. What the fuck?
Dude, right? Okay, so like she's been a highlight of the trial for like every dude watching. It's fucking hilarious because any stream I've watched that's had a guy like fucking commentating has spent way too much time focusing in on this doctor. But like you gotta fucking give it to Depp. He finds a psychiatrist who can give this testimony, who's this educated on what she's talking about, who can communicate it this well. And look, the jury is mostly dudes, right? You have an incredibly attractive woman who is basically sitting there telling you this really fascinating tale about the defendant. They're gonna pay attention. Like it works out for Depp in every single way. There's no denying it. Trials aren't always about like, how do I say this, right? You could have a witness come on and they could be like the most well-educated witness that have all the facts, tell you everything on the spot. But if they come in looking like they're hungover and their hair is a disheveled mess, right?
Yeah.
And they start arguing with the other attorneys while they're being cross-examined, like, it's not going to play well. Or if they're boring as shit and they're going off on like, 10-minute tangents into shit that nobody cares about, it doesn't matter. This woman, I'm just saying, is like just a really good fucking witness for Johnny Depp. 100%.
main categories that I'd like to talk about today. So the first is that Dr. Hughes misrepresented the tests and the results that she utilized in her evaluation. She misrepresented my testing and the results that I obtained in my evaluation. And she communicated in a manner, provided testimony in a manner that presented essentially her own opinions and the self-report of Ms. Heard as facts.
Okay, the first category you talked about was a misrepresentation of her own test methods and results. What do you mean by that?
So Dr. Hughes she stated that she administered 12 tests. In actuality, she used 8 checklists. About half of those were symptom checklists. The other half were checklists about experiences that people can have with domestic violence. And those are not appropriate for forensic settings. They are easily exploited.
Other issues that you intend to address relative to misrepresentation of own results?
Yes, so in addition to using these checklist measures, which are easily exploited in a forensic context, they're developed for research or treatment only. She also stated that these checklists revealed things that they simply cannot reveal, especially in this context. Let's see. She also misrepresented information, clear indications on several of the objective measures that she offered. And there were indications visible that Ms. Heard had essentially engaged in what we call response distortion. So clear indications of exaggeration on one of the measures that's specific to PTSD, clear minimization of symptoms intentional on another more broad personality and psychopathology-based measure that she gave to Ms. Heard, which she did not acknowledge.
Did you intend to address anything relative to the CAPS-5?
I did. So Dr. Hughes administered the CAPS-5 about 10 days after I did, almost 2 years after she initially tested Ms. Heard, and she did not administer the test appropriately. So she left major components blank. She didn't apply the scoring rules that are clearly outlined with the test, and yet she diagnosed Ms. Heard with PTSD based on that assessment.
What about Dr. Hughes's use of the personality assessment inventory?
So of the tests that Dr. Hughes administered, 2 would be considered, of those 12, 2 would be considered what we call forensically relevant instruments, meaning that they're objective enough and they provide us with some information about how the examinee approached the test, that it would be appropriate for this setting where the examinee is going to have a natural incentive to present themselves in a way that benefits the outcome of their case. Now, on the PAI, there were clear indications that Ms. Heard was responding and obtained scores in a manner that's consistent with individuals who have a personality disorder. And there was also an indication that several scales, we call this a configuration. So you might have one main scale that you notice is elevated, then you look for additional subscale information to get additional information on what could be elevating that scale.
So, look, I wanted to play that for a while so you could hear it in full. Mm-hmm. The Dawn person, this was the therapist that basically came on and testified for Amber Heard that Amber Heard had suffered all of this abuse at the hands of Johnny Depp, and talked about, in her examples of abuse, kept referring to the victim as female and the abuser as male in every single example she gave, to the point it was getting very frustrating for a lot of Depp supporters. And when she was asked specifically about Dr. Curry, she basically played off Dr. Curry as not understanding what she was doing, misrepresenting her findings to the jury. And look, I'll say this: if you go back and you watch her testimony on Dr. Curry's testimony, what Dr. Curry is doing, she's being very definitive on why this Dr. Hughes did something that was improper. But she's about to get very descriptive as to why. It's not just that she was using tests that were not proper for that setting, because here's the thing. If somebody's coming to you for help, right? Like, genuinely, they're seeking help. You give them those tests because you assume that they're being honest, right? When somebody is suing somebody else, and someone is counterclaiming, and in their counterclaim, they're accusing the other person of emotional distress, meaning their mental health is at stake in the case. Well, then you can't sit there and assume that they are going to tell you the truth when they have a vested interest, a financial interest, in lying. So again, giving her those tests, knowing that they were not proper for what, you know, for this field, for what was going on here, shows that, you know, that doctor is probably biased. But it gets a little bit worse. It's a little bit worse.
Oh, does it?
And there was a Heard had moderately elevated one of the skills that can be associated with trauma. That elevation is better explained by childhood or distant traumatic experiences, like the complex trauma Ms. Heard reported experiencing growing up.
Okay. You said that Dr. Hughes utilized checklists that are not appropriate for forensic analysis. Can you explain that?
Yes. So, as I said, in any sort of forensic context, whether it's a civil or a criminal matter, a person who's being evaluated is going to have major incentive to present in a way that benefits the outcome of their case. So you always approach the examination, I believe Dr. Hughes said, with a healthy dose of skepticism, but that alone is not enough. We have to operationalize that. So we actually have to administer very comprehensive objective tests that either control for attempts to manipulate the test results or reveal attempts to manipulate the test results so that we're not just blindly accepting the results or the self-report of the examinee.
How many tests were administered by Dr. Hughes?
She said that she administered 12 tests.
How many of them were appropriate for forensic physical examination?
So the trauma symptom inventory is appropriate. It's an objective measure, and it does have 2 primary scales that look at how the person approached the test. The personality assessment inventory is an excellent test. It is a broadband measure, meaning that it captures not only symptoms of mental illness, but also general personality traits. That also gives us pretty detailed scales similar to that one test I administered, MMPI, that tells us a lot of nuanced information about the way the person approached the test. She also administered a malingering screen that can be very, very useful, but not in this context. So it's called the Miller Forensic Assessment Symptom Test. It's a brief set of questions that you ask the examinee, and it's been shown by research to be extremely effective at identifying an examinee's attempts to fake a severe mental illness or psychosis. And psychosis is when somebody loses complete connection with reality. It's excellent for that purpose. It's actually been shown in the research to not be effective at all for identifying a respondent's attempts to fake PTSD, anxiety, or mood disorders. The questions are just too odd for somebody who has the wherewithal to be trying to have PTSD to endorse. They see through it. So she used that. That's a fine test, but not appropriate for this context.
Of the various tests that she administered, how many were these checklists?
8 of them.
All right, and what are you talking about specifically?
Okay. So I had mentioned that there were 2 main categories of checklists she used. The first is the symptom checklists. Those included the Beck Depression Inventory. It's a brief inventory of items that essentially show all of the symptoms of depression that a person might have, and you rate which level of severity you have for each question. She also gave the Beck Anxiety Inventory, very similar, but just with questions about anxiety. She gave the Mood Disorder Questionnaire, which is a very brief, again, checklist. It shows symptoms of bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder where you might have an extended manic episode and then a very extended depressive episode. And then she gave the Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Checklist, and that is a screening instrument only. It contains every single symptom of PTSD. So there's a secondary danger here too. When you think about it, given that PTSD is the most frequently feigned and claimed diagnosis in civil courts, if you're handing somebody a checklist that lists every single symptom of PTSD, you're essentially teaching them all the little nuances that we're looking for to give that diagnosis. So she gave that to Ms. Hurd. Ms. Hurd endorsed
There you go.
items, and Dr. Hughes diagnosed.
So it's like she gave her a cheat sheet. the doctor gave her a cheat sheet to do the test.
That's fucking bullshit, dude.
So look, this Dr. Hughes, because again the other attorney's going to come up and talk about like, oh, she's board certified, oh, she's testified in plenty of these IPV cases. I'm like, well, yeah, it seems like she's somebody who, if you're going to accuse your partner of domestic violence and you're a woman and they're a man, she is going to come out in your side no matter what you did and no matter what you are claiming. Like, believe me, plenty of attorneys are going to be happy to get you on board, right? Because they can say that they have an expert witness on IPV who can say that their client was abused. I mean, clearly this fucking Hughes person's a fucking liar, right? I mean, look, she prepped Amber Heard to help her pass the test. Like, this is ridiculous. But in terms of like proof that that's the case, Dr. Curry is going to explain later on something that's a little bit bigger. That she I'll actually, let me get into it. GG Evan, thank you for the tip. Now that Amber Heard BS is over, can we please see you play Super Gun 64?
No, right?
Yes. It's been 3 weeks and you're breaking my heart here, Crow. I get sent a totally legal copy of Breath of the Wild. Help them set up the emulator and you continue to fall off. Sad.
I know. I've been playing this fucking Breath of the Wild shit. It's so good on fucking PC, dude.
Actually, I did play Super Gun 64. It's just I don't play it on stream. Because the reason why I play these like Pokemon games in the background is because I can just like turn them on and just let them run. I don't have to put any commands in. Super Gun 64, I have to keep the game paused. Or like I switch off the screen and it keeps it like frozen. And when I jump back into it, I'm confused and I like die instantly. It happened to me 3 times and I got frustrated. It'd be like, you know, because I'd be playing and then I'd be like, oh, hey, can you help me out with something? I'd be like, okay. And I get up and I'd like, you know, just instantly pause and I get back and sit down and I like click the screen and reopen it and instantly jump back in and land onto something.
Wholesome.
Should
play Super Gun 64.
Well, we're covering the trial tonight.
You should play Super Gun 64.
With PTSD
I tried.
and substantiated that opinion.
Well, then just figure it out. I got it working though. I mean, it is fun. Don't get me wrong, but it's I don't think I have the ability to focus on the stream and play that game. I think no joke, it's harder for me to do that than it was for me to do the same thing in Elden Ring. And in Elden Ring, I barely spoke.
It's just fucking multitasking, Crow.
Well, the thing is, it's a little bit more difficult for you to actually talk about the subject, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But here's the thing. In the next, I want to say 2, maybe 3 weeks, I'm going to be updating my office setup, and I'm going to be getting a second monitor. Once I do that, it'll be a hell of a lot easier for me to actually do a stream where I'm playing a video game and covering a subject, because I won't have to switch between the screens. Like, I'd have the game up on one monitor and do the rest of the live stream on the other. I mean, it's just, because here's the thing. Even now, what I have to do to play this video is I hit play, then I have to switch back to OBS so I can monitor everything. And then if we want to talk, I have to go back and switch over to this, tab in, hit play again. It's like, okay, look, it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. But, oh, Crow, we can barely hear Dr. Muffins. Hold on. There we go. I turned up Dr. Muffins. I don't know why they call her Dr. Muffins, but again,
they call her that?
Yes, they call her Dr. Muffins.
Why?
I don't know.
Ooh,
what?
This doctor, the lady on the screen, they call her Dr. Muffins.
That's fucking hilarious. Is it because she has like boobs or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What?
I don't think it's. I don't know if they would call her Dr. Muffins just because she has boobs.
I love it.
But it is a funny name. Alright, let me hit play. But yeah, no, like, what she says here is really bad for Herd's team, because the other, look, I mean, it really comes down to how the jury is perceiving the case. I don't think the Dr. Hughes person came across as very believable, because again, she gets flustered and she starts arguing with the other attorney. I remember at one point, she actually turned around and like bitched at the jury because they had objected to something, and she was getting pissed off that she kept getting objected to. And it was really funny.
By Ms. Hurd's checking those items on the PCL-5.
Were there another group of checklists that Dr. Hughes used?
Yes, so she also, and I forgot one on the last because I don't think of it as one, but previously I'd explained, and I do not expect you to remember, it's called the Life Events Checklist, which is just an inventory of experiences a person may have gone through that are traumatic. Dr. Hughes also used that, and that's appropriate to use before the clinician-administered PTSD scale, the gold standard CAPS-5. However, she administered this long ago before she gave the CAPS-5. Now that going on to the second group, there were 3 checklists that she gave that are specific to abuse. And the first she gave, the Danger Assessment Scale, was actually developed for use by nursing staff in an emergency room setting, specifically for female victims of intimate partner violence. The purpose of this is important because our forensic ethics, our psychology ethics, talk a lot about relevance. Is the test relevant to the purpose? And the Danger Assessment Scale, its initial purpose was completely different. This was developed to show high risk factors for dangerousness and pretty much to help a female who is in an extremely abusive partnership, who is in the emergency room with extreme injuries, to stop rationalizing, because if she has to check off all the things that have happened that year that have been dangerous, does he own a gun, has he, I won't go into all of them, but the more she checks off, the more likely it is that she might realize that she is in imminent danger and then accept resources offered by the hospital and social work to protect her. That was the purpose of the scale. It was never intended to be used as a retrospective measure to look back in time and find out whether abuse was occurring based on one person's report years later in a litigation. She also gave the conflict tactics scale, revised, the second edition. Similarly, this scale was developed for research purposes, to research family violence. Again, there is no control for exaggeration or minimizing. It was just given to research participants anonymously so that we could get data on the prevalence of abuse and how abusive dynamics work. And on that, there's 39 questions where the respondent indicates essentially certain abusive behaviors they may have engaged in, and then 39 where they indicate behaviors their partner might have engaged in. And obviously, you can understand that in a forensic setting, the respondent is likely to put a very minimal amount of behaviors they engaged in and then extremely increase the number of behaviors their partner might have. And then lastly, let's see, the abusive behaviors observation checklist was the third checklist she gave. This one has not, there's no known research even on its effectiveness for what it was developed. It's a theoretical, very brief checklist that was meant to be used for therapy, where an individual who had experienced domestic violence could essentially read through some of the behaviors that constitute violence that they might not have been aware of. And if those behaviors applied to them, or if some of those coping strategies were ones they utilized, they would check that off, and then they have a way to talk about it because now it's been put to words. Again, this is similarly problematic. If you're in a civil litigation, the person's motivated to have the results be consistent with a claim or an allegation of intimate partner violence and an allegation that they've been severely harmed, then they could simply just check off more. And not only that, but checklists like this one specifically give a lot of nuanced information about what clinicians might be looking for when they're assessing whether violence was present or whether the person's self-report is consistent with a genuine self-report of having been victimized. They're given all that information that we might be looking for.
Can you talk specifically about Dr. Hughes' use of I think you called it the PCL5?
Yes. So,
I mean, again, it's not that the tests themselves that the other doctor had administered to Amber Heard were just bullshit tests outright, but it's a different setting, If someone's coming you seeking help, you would assume that they are being honest for the most part, but you still have to field it so you know what's actually wrong with them. Or like she said there's one test that helps the person actually understand that that there's someone who's being abused. But if you're in a situation where the person has an incentive to lie, not saying that they are, but that they would have an incentive to lie, you can't just take them at their word, and you certainly can't give them a cheat sheet and tell them how they should be answering if they want to be seen as being an abused victim. This other doctor just seems highly fucking unethical. I mean, just absurdly unethical. The fact she's board certified just tells me there's an issue with the fucking board.
The PCL5 is the post-traumatic stress disorder checklist. This is different, not to be confused with the CAPS-5, which I've talked about previously as being the gold standard. The PCL5 was developed by the National Center of PTSD. It's intended for treatment. So if I were, for instance, working with a service member who I know had been in combat, I would probably give this as a standard with my intake. Before we do the diagnostic interview, it kind of gives me a read on how somebody who's there for treatment, who we assume can be taken at their word because if they give us correct information, they're going to get an appropriate treatment. And if they give us incorrect, they might not get the treatment they need. So I would give this checklist to them, and then if they recognize some of those symptoms of PTSD, they could check it off. And that would probably indicate to me that I need to then do the next step. If they're checking off more items than not, I would probably decide to administer the clinician-administered PTSD scale, that gold standard interview, to find out more about a diagnosis.
The last thing is what everybody refers to as the CAPS-5?
Yes, the CAPS-5.
All right. What about, well, you talked about forensic use. What do you mean by that?
So when I'm talking about forensic evaluation, that's an evaluation that isn't done for therapy or treatment. It's specifically to assist the fact finder, to assist the judge or the jury in the court by providing information about the psychological status about an individual. And that's an important delineation too. We are not psychologists, I wish we were mind readers. I wish we had a crystal ball and could find out whether intimate partner violence occurred and look back in the past, but it's nothing like that. Really, it's a lot less interesting. We look at data. We have to control for those response biases. And then we also are looking at functioning, which is really the bottom line of the assessment. Did the person have a change in functioning from before the alleged trauma, or in this case, the alleged IPV, to after? Is there a decline in the way they're going about their lives?
Objection, Your Honor, may we approach? All right.
I have no clue. Like, I honestly have no clue why they put Johnny Depp up after her. But I thought it was fucking pretty amazing. Because he's gonna be the next person to leave. Yeah. But this is how they cross-examined her. Again, they don't really touch up on her criticisms of Dr. Hughes as much as they spend time trying to imply some sort of impropriety.
Which is scummy, but...
Well,
Dr. Curry,
this woman who's doing it is a fucking scumbag.
Remember, you're not board certified, correct?
No, I'm not.
And so it begins.
And you've been licensed for how long?
I've been licensed for 10 years.
Okay. And you are being paid by Mr. Depp's legal team to be here, correct?
Yes.
How much have you charged so far?
I actually don't know.
Over 100,000?
I truly don't know. I don't do my own books.
Over 200,000?
I don't know.
Over 300,000?
That would be way too much, but I do not know.
Okay. Now, just so that we all remember, you had dinner at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez.
Dude, they're
correct?
trying to keep it together.
I
You
was
can tell they're
interviewed.
trying not to laugh.
I asked if there was a
Yeah, I know.
because at about 3 hours I started to get hungry. Mr. Depp then offered to order takeout for the entire team.
So you had dinner with at Mr. Depp's home.
Dude, I swear, it's like this woman's got like brain damage. So you had breakfast and you had dinner at Mr. Depp's home. Is that what you were saying? Like, holy shit, woman. Like, what is wrong with your brain?
Can you repeat that for the prosecution?
God, it is frustrating when this woman comes on because it's like that with her though, you know. She does that shit. She's like, so what you're saying is, it's like, oh my god, you fucking evil witch.
On further investigation.
So what you're saying is,
With Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, Ms. Vasquez, and Mr. Depp, correct?
Yes.
And you had drinks as well, correct?
I actually don't
yes.
know. I do remember that there were drinks.
Do you recall testifying earlier that you did have a drink, a mule something?
No, I remember testifying that there might have been a mule. A Moscow mule.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have animals there as well, right?
No animals.
Okay, that's good to know. And you talked about transparency.
I think that was a shot at some
You
alpaca
had
joke that
several,
Depp had made or something.
designations, expert designations and reports. And
Something
such,
with,
correct?
or
Yes.
And in
I don't know,
not
man.
one of them
Doesn't
did you
sound that
disclose
significant,
that
but-
you had dinner and drinks
No, it really
at
isn't.
Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez. Is that correct?
Dinner and
You're
drinks.
mischaracterizing what occurred.
Dr. Curry, please answer the question. Not once did you disclose this in any of your
I
reports.
did not
correct?
disclose that I was interviewed as that standard procedure.
But it's true that you have never gone to a client's house to be interviewed for an expert witness position, correct?
Yes, because I never had a client that was essentially homebound because of their celebrity status.
All right. And you...
This isn't going how I want.
Mr. Depp for 3 to 4 hours before taking on the role of assessing Ms. Heard and deciding whether she was suffering from any distress, correct?
I did not talk to Mr. Depp. I was talking to his legal team and he was there to observe.
He was present for the 3 to 4
Yes.
hours. And are you saying now he just stayed silent and said nothing all day?
I don't recall what he didn't or didn't do. I was answering questions.
Okay. Now, your expertise here is limited to whether Amber Heard suffers from PTSD currently. Is that correct?
Yes, I was tasked with conducting an evaluation to determine
Dr.
Ms.
Heard,
Heard's mental
We're all on
status.
very, very strict time limitations
Okay.
because we've promised to get this case to the jury. So I'd really appreciate if you just answer my question rather than trying to go further,
Sure.
okay?
You know,
Jeez.
yeah, okay, so here's the thing about her being such a cunt. Like, actually, it comes down to everything with Heard's legal team, because who's that one weasel, the Roddenborn guy? He pulls that shit too. The reason why they're trying to rush her answers along is because her team has run out of time. They only are allowed a couple of hours of rebuttal, whereas Depp's team has something like another 12 or 10 hours that they're allowed to present to the court, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can just keep beating up on Heard's team because Heard's team literally cannot waste a fucking second at this point. So when she's being rude as shit and telling the woman there that she needs to hurry up and, you know, just answer exactly you know, look, the reason
It's
why
code for we're losing.
It's not, I mean, yeah, no, they're definitely losing. But, like, the reason why she's saying it that way is because, again, they literally have run out the clock. They don't have any time. They can't waste any time. But for them to try to turn that around on the person they're questioning as if they're, you know, wasting the court's time, which I mean, it's not even the first time they tried that shit. It's just like, fuck these people. Honestly, fuck these people. All right. Let me hit play. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Now,
Bitch.
after you had the dinner, you then provided a designation in February of 2021 in which you said, and this is long before you ever saw Amber Heard, correct? You said that Amber Heard, quote, exhibits patterns of behavior that are consistent with co-occurring cluster B personality disorder traits, especially borderline personality disorder, end of quote, correct?
No,
No, we went through this before.
we did.
But, and that was on the designation, was it not?
She needs to have things repeated to her.
I
a lot,
told you
doesn't she?
last time that I did not write that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you don't know who did on the legal team, correct?
No.
Okay, and then I also asked you, if you may recall, whether you listened to the audio recording in which Mr. Depp taunted Amber Heard that she had a borderline personality disorder. Do you recall that?
I recall you asking me that, yes.
Did you recall listening to that audio tape?
I don't recall Mr. Depp taunting Ms. Heard. I do recall that he at some point suggested she might have that diagnosis.
Okay, and that was back in these audio tapes back when they were together, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you've never before been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to someone who has bipolar disorder, correct?
No, as I previously stated, that's not true.
All right. My extra copies were all distributed before. Does everybody have those?
Not up here anymore.
Okay. My apologies, but I'm going to go to...
Remember,
Can we approach?
they don't want to waste the court's time. Can't find her fucking paperwork. But remember, dude.
That's so unprofessional.
Hold on. Yes, it is. But she didn't want to waste the court's time. Okay? So look, I feel like we should cut her some slack here. This is great. Right? Remember.
Dude,
Don't
she's
want to waste the
probably
court's
just like,
time.
ugh. She's like, how much longer?
Well, yeah, look, Heard's team sucks. Everybody knows that.
Now, you recall testifying in your deposition on March 21, 2022, correct?
Yes.
And you were under oath at that time, correct?
Yes.
And the question I just showed you on page 207, line 5, have you ever been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to whether someone has bipolar disorder? And your answer at that time was no, correct?
Yes, I had forgotten that case.
Okay. And have you ever been asked to testify whether anyone has behavioral or characterological conduct that suggests they may be an IPV perpetrator?
I can't, yeah, I may have. It's difficult after about 250 cases. It's difficult to remember specifically.
All right, and have you ever been...
Duh, she can't remember!
...in the area of IPV?
Liar!
250 cases.
Yeah, I know, right?
And have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence?
Domestic...
Abuse or violence?
Yes, that's been a component of testimony.
It's hilarious because they try to impeach her, and by that I mean, like, you know, show that she's a liar. And it's really funny how this woman goes about it. And I'm not kidding when I say it's really funny, Redsky. Like, you're gonna fucking laugh. Because, dude.
I thought the guy was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Line 16.
It gets better, though. It really does.
Have you ever been qualified as an expert in the area of IPV? Your answer on line 20 was no, under oath, correct? Then the next question, have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence? That and goes into page 208, line 4. The answer then under oath was no. Now, you would agree that the literature is quite clear that trauma-based symptoms such as PTSD or complex PTSD...
Like, she doesn't even give her a chance to respond to it.
Borderline personality.
That's my favorite part. She just, like, keeps fucking going. Like, I've got her now. Fuck her.
You would agree that it's important to use valid and reliable measures for an accurate diagnosis, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. You chose, however, not to administer the structured clinical interview for DSM-5 personality disorders, the SCID. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay. And would you agree that that is a state-of-the-art structured clinical interview?
Not for a forensic evaluation with a sophisticated examinee.
But to determine if a personality disorder is present?
No, not in this setting.
You don't agree with that?
I do not.
And you don't agree that that is the gold standard assessment for reliable, accurate psychiatric diagnosis?
It's a good one, but for treatment settings especially.
Okay. Now, did Ms. Hurd, you said you read all of the treatment records, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall reading the treatment records for the psychologist Bonnie Jacobs, who saw Amber Heard over 5 years?
I do.
And did you see anything in Bonnie Jacobs' notes over 5 years in which she diagnosed Ms. Heard with borderline personality or histrionic personality disorder?
No.
Now, you also saw the notes of Dr. Connell Cohen, correct? And you even attended his deposition, correct?
Yes.
All right. And he saw Amber for roughly 2 years. He was part of the Dr. Kipper connection, right?
Skipper connection.
Yes.
Okay. And did you
dude, this part's great.
In Dr. Cowan's notes, and did he say in his deposition that he diagnosed Amber Heard with borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder?
I saw the symptoms clearly delineated throughout his notes and in his deposition. He does not use diagnoses, so he would not have diagnosed her.
He said specifically in his deposition he did not diagnose her with that, correct?
Yes, and he also specifically stated that he does not use diagnoses.
All right.
But he also said that he didn't diagnose her, right?
Banks, Dr. Amy Banks, the psychiatrist.
I fucking love this
deposition,
shit.
correct?
Yes.
And did Dr.
Not her
Anderson,
deposition. I reviewed her notes in the transcript.
all right. Did Dr. Anderson diagnose Ms. Heard with borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder?
I don't believe she provided any diagnosis since she was a couples therapist.
All right. Now, you've said quite a bit about Don Hughes, but do you remember how many years of experience Don Hughes has in IPV and domestic abuse and violence?
I know it's quite a bit.
Extensive, and she is board certified. Right? And she spent 29 hours of examination with Amber Heard. Did she not?
Yes, mostly
Okay.
interviewing.
All right, and she interviewed her therapists, Bonnie Jacobs.
Remember, this is the woman
Yes.
And she also
Dr.
interviewed
Curry
her-
just dismantled.
Yes.
Okay, and she administered 12 different tests over the period of that time, correct?
Well, as I said, the majority of those were checklists, which are inappropriate for the forensic setting.
I understand that's what you say, but she administered 12 different tests, correct?
If you want to qualify them as tests, sure.
Okay. And so you disregard what it, no, I'm not even going to say that.
Dude, that's the best. That's fucking great. She count herself. She's learning.
In her life, correct?
It's evolving.
I did give her an instrument to assess for any trauma exposure throughout the entire lifespan.
Yes, it's fine. And you wrote that Ms. Heard's exposure to a traumatic event, namely one of the sexual assaults by Mr. Depp, more than satisfied this requirement. Did you not write that in your notes?
That is not what I wrote in my notes. Do you have my notes? So we
And
can
you
look at that?
administered a structured based on that.
I didn't say that. Just show it to me. Let's move on.
Not exactly. It's not quite right.
Okay. Now, Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment, correct?
That's not a psychological assessment. We can't assess for intimate partner violence. That's an event.
Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment,
She
correct?
stated that, and that's actually something I'm rebutting today.
Okay, and you reviewed her psychological testing?
I sure did, yes.
Okay, and are you aware that in September 2019, Ms. Heard had a trauma-based symptom on many of those valid tests?
Can you be a little bit more specific? Many of those valid tests, which tests are you talking
Do
about?
you have a recollection of that, September 2019?
She administered all of her testing in September 2019, so I'm not sure which one, except for the CAPS 5, which was 10 days after mine in 2021.
Now, Dr. Hughes clinically evaluated those symptoms and established that Ms. Heard does have PTSD from the totality of the intimate partner violence by Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what she stated, yes.
Okay. Now, Dr. Anderson's clinical notes that said Amber had come to...
Objection, hearsay.
I haven't even asked the question yet. Well, let me, no, actually, I wasn't going to read her notes. I was going to ask a particular question. You talked about danger. Do you recall that in your testimony?
Yes.
All right. Now, if a patient comes to you as a couples therapist with two black eyes, would you assess that there may be a potential danger there?
Sure.
Okay. Did you read Dr. Anderson's notes?
I believe I did.
Now, you administered the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory 2, the MMPI-2. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you used that to determine whether Amber had PTSD, right?
Not by itself, but it was a part of the data.
Okay. And in the 60 to 70...
Gotta move right past that one.
...for that test, which, quote, deliberate attempts to mislead are uncommon, end quote. Isn't that correct?
Sorry, could you
Is it
repeat that?
uncommon?
In the T-score
God.
section of that, for which assesses deliberate attempts to mislead. Do you recall? She scored a 60 on that test, correct?
So there are multiple T-scores for each scale, so I'm not sure which scale you're talking about.
Okay. Well, we can deal with that later. So you would agree that you need to follow ethics and best practices in forensic psychology, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the two primary sources are the American Psychological Association Ethical Principles and Professional Code of Conduct, right? Mm-hmm. And the American Psychological Association's Specialty Guidelines for Forensic Psychology, correct?
Yes.
And Specialty Guidelines 1.02 states that forensic practitioners, quote, strive for accuracy, impartiality, fairness, and independence, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Specialty Guidelines 1.03 states that you have to avoid a conflict of interest, correct?
Yes.
Now, in addition to not listing the 4 hours you spent with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez, you also did not list that you spent an hour with Dr. Shaw, correct?
That's incorrect.
You say that the designation said that you spent
During my
an hour?
deposition, I also clarified this. I didn't spend an hour with Dr. Shaw. There was an introduction with the attorneys present on Zoom. My time on that call was less than 30 minutes.
Okay. But you still didn't disclose it, did you, in your reports?
No.
Okay. Now,
I cannot believe she thinks that's like a winning issue for her.
about Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
I was asked to testify about somebody's behavioral mental status in general, so that can include behavior involved in a relationship with Mr. Depp, but not specifically.
Can you pull up day 10 of the trial testimony at page 2710? Are you able to do that, Michelle? 2710, lines 12 through 18.
May we approach?
All right. All right.
Yeah, like, dude, this they don't go after what she said. They just attack her credibility and they just accuse her of impropriety. They tried like really heavily the first time to make it sound like she was doing something like really inappropriate with Johnny Depp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
drinking with him.
yeah. Now it's, oh, you're not disclosing these things. Here's the thing, like Dr. Don Hughes on one of like these forms for one of these tests left like whole sections blank. Like, but they're going to compare that to her not disclosing the fact that she did an interview to accept the job, like, or to be accepted for the job. Like, why would you put that as part? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like this idea, like you know, dude, you go out, like you had dinner, right? Like you've had to have, like I eat out at work all the fucking time, and we normally like group up and we like pay for it together, or like you know we'll like one person will pay for the group and then the next time the other person pays for it. Like people do that at work all the fucking time.
Great job. Okay,
It's a fucking job, Jesus.
Yep. So
I just think it's like
this
gross
is
what they
your
try to like fucking
testimony
imply.
in this case, and if you can look at page 2710, line 13. Now, my question was, now is it your testimony under oath today that you have not been asked to testify concerning Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp, including any abuse? And your answer under oath to this jury that day was, that's correct.
Yes.
Correct?
I still agree with that to that question.
All right. And you have not made any determinations, including any opinions, that Ms. Heard abused Mr. Depp or Mr. Depp abused Ms. Heard, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, you said that's outside the scope.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Of psychology.
And you cannot testify whether Amber Heard suffered any emotional distress as a result of any of the defamatory comments that she has alleged Mr. Waldman made through Mr. Depp, or Mr. Depp made through Mr. Waldman, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Do you want me to read my response?
What's the objection? I'm sorry. Hold on, Dr.
Sorry,
Curry.
Your Honor.
That's okay. Oh, what's the objection? Are you on perch? Okay.
Like this again. This is how it's starting off, right? This is how the day's beginning for everybody, and I can't imagine this is how they wanted it to go. This had to be like the last person they wanted to see come up as a witness right now, especially with how bad everything's been going for Heard. Plus, she's burning through all the time that they had because they have to address her. She's such a credible witness.
You have not rendered any opinion as to whether Amber Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that would suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false. Would you agree?
No. I mean, yes, I would agree with that.
Oh, thank you. And you have not... No, that's right. That's all I've got. No further questions.
She got objected to, and the thing is, the other lawyer won.
Yeah.
That's basically how it always goes. Okay, so now let's go into Johnny Depp's cross-examination, which a lot of people were dreading, but it's pretty short.
Certainly. You testify that you took a train ride from Bangkok to Singapore, is that right?
That's correct.
And you claim that on this train ride that Miss Heard hit you in the face, correct?
Yes.
And left a black eye, correct?
Yes.
And Michelle, could you please pull up PX 162?
Is that already in evidence?
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Published to the jury?
Thank you. Mr. Depp, this is the picture that your counsel showed you both in your prior, or showed you this morning, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
This is an amazing moment where they basically accuse him of photoshopping.
Seems to be there's some scratches around my nose as well.
Okay. All right, but that it's your left eye, the one close to the chef. That's what you says your black eye, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was the picture your team chose to show you, right? Let's pull up Exhibit 1905, Michelle, please.
I'm sorry, which number was it?
This is a new exhibit, Your Honor, 1905.
And that's defendants?
Defendants Exhibit 1905.
Okay, thank you.
Ask for permission to publish, Your Honor.
Oh, you want to put it in evidence? Okay, any objection to 1905?
With the comments, we have no objection to the photograph itself. We would ask the comments be redacted as hearsay.
Well, I'd like to at least question the witness about the
I
comments.
have no objection to the photograph being published.
Okay, well, let's wait a minute. Mr. Depp, you see here, these are 4 pictures of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and below it, they indicate that they were taken on July 24th, 2015 in Bangkok, Thailand, correct?
Objection, lack of foundation, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
In Bangkok, Thailand, so before the train ride.
Correct, before the train ride, because you didn't get on the train ride till the 25th, is that right?
Somewhere in that area, I guess.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask for permission to publish this to the jury.
If it's just the photographs, we have no
All
objection.
right, if you want to redact the, just have the photographs in it?
Sure. We'll do 1905.
5, just with redaction, sure, it'll be fine. I think there's still some on the bottom. I'm not sure.
It's just redact that.
Okay, so like they have another photo of him with his eye and it looks a little bit dark, but it doesn't look like anything from the other photo, and his nose isn't fucked up either. It's that and another photo. This is how he's going to try to accuse like Johnny Depp's team of faking evidence. Again, they can't address anything that's actually being said here, so they have to accuse the other side of impropriety. And it's not the first time they've done it. They accused, not so much accused, they tried to question one of the witnesses on what Camille had told them, and tried to imply that Camille had coerced their testimony or some shit. It was really fucked up.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, publish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michelle, could you please scroll down to the bottom 2 pictures there? Mr. Depp, in these pictures that were taken before you got on the train ride for your honeymoon, where you claim that Miss Heard hit you and gave you a black eye, you have the exact same shadow or sunburn or mark under your left eye. The exact same mark, don't you?
That's the, when you get a side light, you see the occipital bone. So that is the exact area.
Yep. And it's actually...
A side light will cause that.
Yeah, well, the picture's not being taken from the side, is it? It's being taken head on, isn't it?
No. The lens in front.
Yeah.
The light on the side. That
Dude, this is fucking great. Like, you guys talk to this guy like he's a fucking child.
Lights on the side of a train car, correct?
Objection calls for speculation.
You can take that down, Michelle.
That was in fact in the dark. And I had a chef, I had people on either side of me, so I don't see where the light fill is from the side there.
Mr. Depp, if you could wait for the next question. Next question.
Next question. Even the picture your team chose to show you on that train isn't accurate, is it? Let's pull up.
Objection calls for speculation.
Let's pull up Exhibit 1859, please.
1859. Is that in evidence?
No, Your Honor. Mr. Depp, this is the same picture or the same the exact same scene displayed in PX 162 that you looked at this morning, correct?
That looks like my face has been, the eyes have been photoshopped.
Oh, okay. So this post from the Eastern and Oriental Express's Facebook page, you're saying that that's photoshopped?
Is that from their page? I would, sure, why wouldn't they?
Let's pull them up side by side, please. Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of this exhibit. We can just have the pictures. We don't need the...
Any objection to the picture?
Objection, lack of foundation, lack of authentication.
Is that you in the photo, Mr. Depp?
It is me, but it's clearly...
Your Honor, I'd move to strike anything after that, first of all, and would ask for admission of this photo.
So...
with radically different quality.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? The photo that's on the left-hand side is like their public photo that was used to like advertise this train car, whatever. The photo on the right is the original photo. And like you can tell because the photo on the left has been cleaned up, right? Everything is cleaned up. I'm just comparing them side by side, right? But the idea is they're accusing Johnny Depp's team of turning in a manipulated photo. They don't provide anything else beyond that, which is funny because what winds up happening is Johnny Depp's team then has a forensic expert come in, and I can basically skip through here. Johnny Depp accused of trying to get... Actually, no, this shit's funny. Hey, Aura, are you there? Aura.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm just covering the stuff from the trial today. It was really fucking great.
No, it was wild. This shit's been a crazy shit show, dude.
Oh yeah, no, this part here where he gets accused of trying to get her fired is great.
Question would you like me to handle first?
There's one question, sir. You tried to get her fired from the Aquaman after the temporary restraining order, didn't you?
Well, what is related to the story about me getting
It just
her?
yes or no, Mr. Depp. I don't.
I
didn't ask what related
down to
what
yes
story
or no at all
related to.
times. I can't please you with a yes or a no every single time.
It's a yes or no question, Mr. Depp. You tried to get Ms. Heard fired, didn't you?
Answer's no.
All right, let's pull up.
That's funny. Jesus Christ.
No, it gets really fucking good here. You have no idea, man.
Is this fired? This is a text message that you had with your sister, Christy Dembrowski, who's the first witness in this case, right?
She doesn't work at Warner Brothers. She can't fire Amber.
That's funny.
On June 4th,
That's funny.
2016, isn't it?
June 4th, yes.
Your Honor, move for the admission of Exhibit 821 as redacted.
Any objection?
We would object on relevance grounds, Your Honor.
I'll overrule that objection. 821 in evidence.
And on June 4th, 2016, Mr. Depp, you texted your sister, "I want her replaced on that WB film." Did I read that right?
You did.
Her is referring to Amber, right?
That's correct.
And WB is Warner Brothers, correct?
Again, correct, yes.
And then after you sent this text to your sister, following the temporary restraining order, you reached out to Guy Silverstein to have him fire Amber, correct?
Who?
Greg Silverstein, I'm sorry.
I like the way you
slip up.
That was hilarious. Like, it's just like, who? Oh.
I had vetted Miss Heard. And I had vetted Miss Heard.
Mr. Depp, you got your chance to speak this morning. Your Honor,
Warner Brothers had 2 franchises.
Mr. Depp, if you could just answer the question, sir. Next question.
You reached out to Greg Silverstein to get him to try to get Amber fired from Aquaman, didn't you?
Asked and answered.
Excuse me?
Asked and answered.
It's a yes or no question that he hasn't answered, yes or no.
All right.
Yes or no, sir? You reached out to Greg Silverstein to try to get Amber fired from Aquaman.
Second half of your question is wrong, sir.
You reached out to
them because I vetted her.
No. Mr. Depp, you reached out to Sue Kroll to get her to try to get her to help you get Amber fired from Aquaman, didn't you?
No.
And you reached out to Kevin Sujihara to try to get him to help you get Amber fired from Aquaman, didn't you?
No.
Can you pull up Exhibit 857, please? Mr. Depp, this is a text message that you sent to Christian Carino on August 15th, 2016, correct?
This is already in evidence, correct? Or is it 857?
Parts of it are.
Oh, so not this?
Not this version.
Well, this can't be 857 then, don't.
850, sorry.
Mr. Ron, but you can't do this to me.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Understood.
Dude, this fucking lawyer sucks. I'm just gonna enter this in as this evidence number. Oh, it's not that though. It's something else. Jackass.
Yes, sir, thank you.
My apologies, Your Honor. Mr. Depp, you sent this text to Christian Carino on August 15th?
I most certainly did.
Okay. And in this text that you sent to Christian, Christian Carino is the person who used to be Amber's agent and then was your agent for a time, correct?
That is correct.
And in this text, Your Honor, permission to publish, please.
Do you want to put in evidence first?
Move for admission of 857A.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 857A, as redacted, will be in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And in this text, Mr. Depp, you said, she's begging for total global humiliation. She's going to get it.
Dude, oh my god. You guys.
About San Francisco.
Dude, Aura, are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. This part here is really fucked up. This part here is really fucked up for them. I have no clue. I don't know, even if you think this said what you think it says, you really shouldn't read this in full to the jury. Cause holy shit. Does it like oh my god. Fucking Christ, man. Like, after everything that's been said about her during this trial, the jury is likely going to agree with this message that was sent out about her.
Francisco, brother. I'm even sorry to ask, but she sucked Mollusk's crooked dick and she gave her some shitty years.
Elon Musk.
No mercy.
He's referring to him.
Not an ounce of emotion.
That's fantastic.
What I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime-a-dozen, mushy, pointless, dangling, fish market. I'm so fucking happy she wants to go to fight this out. She will hit the wall hard. And I cannot wait to have this waste of a cum guzzler out of my life.
Oh my god!
That fucking sublime little Russian here. The time I blew on that 50-cent stripper. I can only hope that karma kicks in and takes the gift of breath from her.
Oh, fuck!
Now, I will stop at nothing. Let's see if Mollusk has a pair. Come see me face to face. I'll show him things he's never seen before, like the other side of his dick when I slice it off.
God damn!
You did.
Look at the smirk on his face, dude. Oh, hold on, I gotta go back. The smirk on his face there.
Before, like the other side of his dick when I slice it off. Did I read that right?
You did.
He's fucking proud.
That sounds like some Eminem song I heard once.
I mean, like, here's the thing, right?
Eminem wrote a song like that.
Well, yeah, he did. But like, she's not only accused of cheating on him, her own witness came forward and said that she was doing it. So it's like, he's the husband who is being cheated on. He's the husband who is being abused by his wife. Like, that message he is sending, he is asking for the person to turn over text messages to him. This individual supposedly is gonna get Amber Heard fired, but there's no mention of it at all. I just fucking this lawyer sucks.
Now, not long after this, you can take that down, Michelle. Thank you. Not long after this, you met Mr. Waldman in the late summer or fall of 2016, correct?
I believe, yeah, September, October, somewhere in there, whatever.
And he's been your attorney since then, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you met with him with the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, didn't you?
I'm sorry, again?
You and Mr. Waldman together met with the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, didn't you?
Are you asking me a question about my attorney and I?
Yeah, that you two met with people from the Daily Mail in London in February 2020.
Was that during the London trial?
No.
No?
No, in February.
I don't recall it, though.
Okay.
I don't.
To the extent Mr. Waldman testified that you did, you don't dispute that, correct?
I just don't recall it.
Okay. You don't disagree with Mr. Waldman's testimony that you and he met with people from the Daily Mail in London in February 2020, correct?
If that's Mr. Waldman's testimony, then...
Okay.
But I just didn't necessarily know who these people were.
Right. The same month that the Daily Mail released alleged tapes between you and Amber.
Objection
Correct.
calls for speculation, lack of personal knowledge.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Now, Mr. Depp, you testified, and I wrote it down before lunch. You said, when Ms. Myers asked you something about, how does it feel to make you, or how does it feel to be here? You said, I've been living with it for 6 years and waiting to be able to get the truth out. You remember saying that?
Yes.
You also said, I've spoken up for what I've been carrying on my back. Something to that effect. You remember saying that?
Yes.
And you've claimed several times in this proceeding, Mr. Depp, that this trial is your first chance to tell your story, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
But that's just not true, is it, Mr. Depp? That's not true.
No, for me it is true.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. The fact is, Mr. Depp, when Dan Wooten wrote an article that was published in The Sun calling you a wife beater, you brought a lawsuit against The Sun in June of 2018, correct?
Yes, I brought
And that was 6 months before Miss Heard ever wrote her op-ed, correct?
I don't know.
And in the summer of 2020, there was a several-week trial in London against The Sun, correct?
Ms. Heard was not a party to that trial. Was she?
Not my question, Mr. Depp. In the article that The Sun wrote that you sued over, you sued for Mr. Wooten calling you a wife beater, correct?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained. Next question.
And in the trial that you subsequently brought, you called a lot of witnesses, right?
I don't know what a lot is. I don't know.
Many people testified on both sides of the trial, correct?
Yes, many people.
And many exhibits were introduced, correct?
Like a trial, yes.
And you, just like in this trial, you were on the stand for several days in that trial, correct?
Yes, sir, I was.
And that trial involved the same factual issues that you are litigating here, which is whether you committed domestic abuse against Amber Heard.
Sustain the objection. Next question.
You brought that case against The Sun because you were angry at The Sun for calling you a wife beater, correct?
Yeah, that's
And you
probably a pretty good reason.
And you went through that trial in London.
I did indeed, yes.
Mr. Depp, you've already had a chance to tell your story, haven't you?
No, there were great limitations in the UK trial.
Okay.
No further questions.
All right. Redirect. Thank you.
So, like, the thing is, Amber Heard got questioned and they were pretty rough with her. This guy, like, I honestly, I think he was probably more of a dick the first time he questioned Johnny Depp. This time I don't think it was as bad, but like, that it doesn't play well. Johnny Depp was calm. He didn't break. He didn't like change his character, change his demeanor. And instead, the lawyer looks like he's kind of fucking losing it. Now I had two more pulled up, but I'm just gonna explain the second one here. First one is just funny, and I'm gonna speed it up so we can just get through it faster.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Yes. So, how do you know what?
By the way, as you've already seen, everybody that they talk to, they attack their character, right? Mm-hmm. They attack their credibility. They imply that they have some sort of impure motivations, and you're going to see it all throughout this guy. They accuse him of it nonstop.
What video was shown at this trial?
I was alerted by a friend that TMZ was being kind of talked about in this trial, and so I had seen a clip of that.
So you watched some of this trial?
Correct.
Okay. When did you first reach out to counsel for Mr. Depp?
I believe that was 6 days ago. Whatever that date would be, I'd have to do that.
All right. And then you received a subpoena, I think yesterday, in care of your attorney, Cindy Hickox, right?
Correct.
Okay. And Cindy Hickox represents Christy Dombrowski, Kate James, Robin Baum.
Objection, Your Honor.
Were you aware
Calls
of
for
that?
speculation.
Overruled. Were you aware of that?
No.
Okay. Now, if you don't have information that's helpful to this case, then you wouldn't be a witness, correct?
Objection. Calls for speculation.
Sustained. Sustained. Next question.
I'm not aware.
Okay. You know this case is being televised, right?
I am aware that there are cameras.
And so this gets you your 15 minutes of fame, doesn't
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative.
I can ask that question.
Overruled.
So I stand to gain nothing from this. I'm actually putting myself kind of in a target of TMZ, a very litigious organization, and I'm not seeking any 15 minutes here. But you're welcome to speculate. I could say the same thing by taking Amber Heard as a client for you.
A little argumentative.
God damn! You can see on Depp's team. Look at this guy in the back, man. Look at them. Fuck, everybody knows he just bitch slapped her. That's fucking great. That was fucking great.
Elaine has it the roughest. She always gets shit on.
I just like.
I don't know. It just sucks kind of bad, but whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show there. So this guy basically comes on, says he worked for TMZ at the time. He covered both stories with Amber Heard, the TRO, and the videotape by Amber Heard. Now, here's the thing: he can't make the direct statement. Oh, Amber Heard gave this to us, but what he did say was within 15 minutes of them obtaining the video, he was told by the big guys to have it up on the website, meaning that they were given the copyright at the time it was sent over to them, and it was verified. The videotape, it was recorded by Amber Heard, so it's like it came from Amber Heard, or it came from her attorneys. It not only that, and this is the funniest shit, he actually says that they were told when they were given the heads up that she was going to be filing the TRO, that when she walked out of the courtroom, she would turn her head to the side so they could get a photo of her bruises. It's like the entire thing was set up. That's what this guy testified to. And he also testified that, look, by coming forward, TMZ might sue him because he has an NDA with them. So there you go. He actually has negative motivation for testifying. and she questioned his motivation. Elaine's done that to every single fucking witness. Well, it just got done to her, and it's fucking hilarious. The photo expert. This was great. And I just want to play the opening of this, just so you can hear this part. So, this photo expert, when he was testifying, the scope of his testimony was severely limited, right? He was only allowed to testify to the metadata. And so, what he had said so far was that, in his opinion, none of the photos from Amber Heard's team could be authenticated because every single one had been run through a photo editing software. He couldn't say what had been done to the photos. He could only state on the record that they were run through some type of software because of how the file was actually saved and sent. The attorney for Amber Heard is going to question this guy, knowing full well that he has already gotten several parts of what this man wanted to state preemptively removed. Watch how he tries to weasel around this shit.
That's a yes or no, sir.
Of a photograph like that, I don't exactly remember the photograph. There's so many different versions of this photograph, but yes, I've talked about that particular photograph.
But do you recall being deposed in this matter?
Yes.
And you were under oath?
Yes.
And that was on April 6, 2022?
I believe.
Can I approach your honor?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
About to get real nasty.
So, Mr. Neumeister, if you could please turn to page 76. And when I say pages, those are the little pages in the 4 boxes, not the page at the top. And do you see page 76, line 3? You were asked on April 6, anywhere in your April 1st, 2022 expert disclosure, do you offer any opinions regarding the authenticity or lack of authenticity of the specific photograph produced as ALH 7101? Response, can I refer to my report to see if that specific number is in the report? Yes. Response, not that specific photo. I just grabbed 3 out of the batch. Do you see that?
Yes.
Can you please pull up Exhibit 517, or Defendants 517?
Thank you.
You are not offering any opinions regarding this specific photograph, right, Mr. Neumeister?
That's correct. My testimony's been limited here.
And you are not offering any opinion that any photograph was visually doctored by Amber, correct?
Not by, I can't put the person who might have done it.
Well, you're not offering an opinion that a photo was visually doctored by anybody, are you?
I'd have to see each photo. There's no way to authenticate any of these photos based on what I received.
So you testified about Photos 3. Do you recall that testimony?
Correct.
Yeah, Photos 3 is a photo editing and photo sorting application, correct?
It's a photo editor and photo sorter, as are a number of editors.
So when you reference Photos 3.0, you never did any independent strike that, Your Honor. So when the software of a photograph in the EXIF metadata says Photos 3.0, that could be just saying that the photo was saved in Photos 3.0, correct?
Unless you looked at a scope of the photos, that would tell you that the parameters of the photo do not meet that of the cell phone that it was taken on.
But the notation Photos 3.0 in the software EXIF metadata, that does not in and of itself mean that the photo was edited in Photos 3.0, correct?
It means that you've recompressed the photo and it will not hash or digitally fingerprint with the original photo.
But it does not mean in and of itself that it was visually edited in any way in Photos 3.0, correct?
Again, it's not the same photo because you're using lossy compression once you save it, so you have changed the photo.
So if you could please turn to page 233 of that transcript. And line 20, do you see question? When it says exit software, okay, Photos 3.0, onto 234. That's just saying it was saved in Photos 3.0, right? Response, saved in 3.0, that's correct. Question, that notation in and of itself does not mean that the photo was edited in 3.0, right? Answer, that's correct. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
file has not changed visually just because it has been processed through Photos 3.0, correct?
That's incorrect.
Can you look at page 128 of your deposition, please? At the bottom, line 20, question, you see, question, but the file changed visually just because it has been processed through Photos 3.0. Answer, obviously I understand what you're asking. From a technical point, yes, because of the compression. You get down to scopes and artifacts, yes, it has changed. Was it intentionally changed? We don't know. In other words, did somebody save it in there and just save the photo? We don't know. Did I read that correctly?
That's correct. But again, it says here...
That was my question, Mr. Neumeister.
Okay.
So the quote doesn't say what the guy said it said.
You have no reason to dispute that, correct?
Incorrect.
Well, isn't data data? That's what you testified to, right?
It's very simple to modify EXIF data.
Did you find any evidence in this case of actual modification of EXIF metadata?
You can't authenticate any of these photos because of the way they were.
That wasn't my question, Mr. Neumeister. Did you find any evidence of any modification of EXIF metadata of any photograph in this case?
You didn't listen to my answer. My answer is there is no way to know because of the way the files were presented.
So you found no actual evidence of it, correct?
That no one could.
I'm not asking if anyone else could, Mr. Neumeister. I'm asking, did you yourself you found no evidence of any modification of EXIF metadata of any photograph in this case, correct?
No, I understand trying to control the narrative, but there's no way to answer that scientifically because given the evidence we were given, there is no way to positively or negatively answer that. It's not a question that can be answered.
It is a question, Mr. Neumeister. The question is, did you yourself, you found no affirmative evidence of any modification of software EXIF metadata of any photograph in this case, correct? You found no actual evidence of that, did you?
No one could tell either way because...
I'm not asking about anyone else, Mr. Neumeister. I'm asking about you. Did you found no evidence of that, did you?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
He's not answered what he found here.
Overruled.
There's not a way to answer that the way you're asking the question. You have to restate it. You're trying to...
Your Honor, he's not responding to the question.
Could you just answer yes or no, sir, to the question?
It's not a yes or no question.
Did you, yes or no, you found no evidence of EXIF metadata modification of any photograph in this case, correct?
That's incorrect.
Okay. It is your opinion that the metadata of all photographs of purported injuries that Ms. Heard has identified as her trial exhibits do not indicate that the photographs went through a photo editing application, correct?
Well, first of all, that's not a yes or no question because a lot of the exhibits that you have put up, they're not photographs. They're screen grabs, and they've been changed from a Apple format, which is JPEG, JPEG, to a JPG Microsoft format. So you have actually changed the exemplars. You've changed the data yourselves. We actually ran EXIF data on some of your own examples that you've entered in the evidence. They are not photos from an iPhone. Those were edited on a PC.
I'm going to hand up a page from your disclosure.
Like this guy knows what he's talking about. They're arguing with the witness who is an actual expert. He is not like some paid hatchet guy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So do you see on page 8 of your disclosure, Mr. Neumeister, it states, quote, the metadata of all of the photographs of purported injuries that Ms. Heard has identified as her trial exhibits do not indicate that the photographs went through a photo editing application. Did I read that correct?
That's correct.
No,
we're talking
no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, redirect.
All right. So, yeah, did not go well at all. The trial's been an absolute shit show. They have, one more day, and I think Friday is closing arguments. So maybe we have an actual verdict Friday. Maybe we have one Monday. Hard to say. Like, I can't imagine the jury sitting there and debating this for very long. I mean, it seems kind of open and shut from the outside, but you really just never know what's going to happen. But again, public image wise, Johnny Depp is saved. Amber Heard is like hot garbage that nobody wants to be associated with. So all in all, I would say that things are working out for the better. Anyways, let's see what happened to Mr. Gunty Boy. Let's speed this up a little bit.
Shorts. As the Gunt likes to walk around Portugal. Oh, he's so short. He's so teeny tiny.
Oh shit. So like, is this the guy that assaulted him? Is this his it's a re-upload, but I think this might be his video. Let's see.
I'm very busy around here. I wonder if I'll tune in and realise we're right behind him. Yeah, the diabetic socks he's wearing.
It's like they're on a hunt for him. You know, it's like they found a little piggy out in the wild and they're just like stalking it. Also, it's almost cruel. Is he eventually gonna realize they're following him? Does he even know? Okay, there you go. Nope, hasn't realized it yet.
So he's shorter than my mate. Let's just say that. Pressing? Nah, we're too public right now.
Hey, what's up, bitch?
Hey, Dick, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, bitch? What are you doing, bitch? Fuck out of my face. Get the fucking...
Fuck you, prick. Shit.
Oh my god. Okay, alright. I thought Ethan Ralph got jumped. This dude was just following around with the camera. Ethan Ralph found out, decided to confront him, attack him, and Ethan Ralph got his ass knocked to the ground. That's what it looks like. Well earned.
Cunt. You're gonna do fucking cunt.
God damn.
What are you coming out before you little dickhead? You fat little gun shit. Yeah, that's right, bleeding. Look at you.
Fuck you, bitch.
Fast start days, bitch!
Fuck you, bitch.
Sweet! Hey, you got a massive lump on your head, dude.
I don't give a fuck.
Put that on, mate. Looks like a fucking... I know, right? What the fuck's going on there? What's going on there? Dickhead, let's go and get some fucking smoke.
Police in this guy. Yeah, whatever. Sure, mate.
And again, I could be wrong, but I don't know why he's calling for the cops. He's the one that attacked the other guy. I mean, that's what it looked like, anyways. What's this? Twitter.
How did Ralph's life get this bad?
Go to site. See what this is about. Oh my OMG is Johnny Depp white people's OJ? What the fuck?
Base.
What the fuck? Okay, good for her.
Oh my god, Crow, I need to send you that video where
That's
Steve
funny.
had like that amazing take about like OJ and Michael Jackson. It was great.
Oh my god, please
That's
no.
still like that is the highlight of my gaming streams. Like
Oh
that
my
one
God.
moment where Steve like because I told Steve you should play God and choose who goes to heaven and who goes to hell between OJ Simpsons and Michael Jackson, and he gave like a very nuclear.
Oh wait, do you say
answer.
O.J. Simpson should not go to hell, but Michael Jackson should, or?
No, he said Michael Jackson should go to heaven and OJ should go to hell. But then, like, after that, holy shit, things went off the rails.
Wait, didn't like half the fucking accusations against like Michael Jackson turn out to be fake or something? Or that
That's
whole...
what they say, but Steve said he still got bad vibes from Michael Jackson, or still does.
Didn't he say Michael Jackson should go to heaven, or did he say OJ should go to heaven? I'm so...
No, he said OJ should go to hell because he actually killed someone, and then Michael Jackson technically didn't kill anybody.
Let's see, what? But okay, all right, you know, fuck off, man.
But that's not the nuclear take though. The nuclear take, it's like it's a lot worse.
Oh,
I want you to hear it offline.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want. Steve's a friend.
Steve's very wholesome. Oh, it's the Master Sword. What the fuck?
All right, we're done. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another stream. We'll be back tomorrow night, 3 nights in a row, first time in a row. Anyways, yeah, we'll be back on Thursday night for a final stream of the week. I'll be taking
usually Fridays.
Normally it is, but I had to skip Monday and do stream on Tuesday. I figure Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I can skip Friday and then do Flashcast because it's the final week for the Depp trial. And I mean, yeah, it should be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're done. Good night, guys.